And we're off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Let's throw it on over to Discord. I think we have a stand-in MC, a distinguished gentleman from Nottingham, England. The Adam Meakin. Adam, sir.
Evening.
Yeah, I knew you'd be there.
Yeah, I've just been watching UFC. I've still got it on, I've got to be honest.
You watch
so I was running a bit late.
UFC?
Well, my youngest son's right into this now. He's doing mixed martial arts and all this fighting and just like doing all this bodybuilding stuff. So he's only going to talk to me about it tomorrow all day.
Right.
So I figure I may as well have some frame of reference.
Kind of barbaric. I never really got into, I don't know why. Like, I don't play video games. I'm not into UFC or anything. I'm not saying that just because I'm not into it, it's not something to get into, but it is kind of, like I said, barbaric in a sense. I know it doesn't have that wrestling type of fake motif to it, but I really don't know because I don't watch it. I just don't get it.
I'm not offended by it. I'm not like a big fan. I wouldn't watch it otherwise. I like proper boxing, you know what I mean? My granddad was a boxer and a sportsman and stuff. Yeah, my youngest, they're all into this now, aren't they? Into UFC. Brian's it. He was into this. He used to be a barbarian.
Hey everyone. I don't know about barbarian. I did it for about. Well, it wasn't all MMA, but it was MMA and submission wrestling and that over about a 10-year period. It's a good sport, but the problem with it is that it takes a lot of discipline. And if you're not getting paid anything for that discipline, even if you're in the military, you're getting paid for your discipline. You're getting paid anything for your discipline, and if all you're getting out of it is injuries, what's the point? You know. But as a sport, it is very good.
What's your take on it, Flatsy?
I think that everybody could use a bit more discipline.
I didn't ask you for your take on discipline. I asked you for your take on UFC, Flatsy. Focus now.
Are you offering to spank me?
No. The UFC stuff, it can be a bit entertaining, I guess, but I'm not a big fan, no.
Ah, but you've watched it.
Yeah, because my husband will want to watch it sometimes, and there's a group in 24/7 that get together and they'll watch it. I really like just getting together. If that,
you like the social. You like the social aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough. All right, is that it?
Yeah, a little sideways. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Take us home, Adam.
Well, that's a wrap, guys.
We're without face ache tonight, aren't we?
Say again?
We're without face ache. I think Nathan's.
Yeah. Oh, you call him face. I'm sorry, I forgot to deal with that. I was gonna mention something to it. The OG MC has some dental issues. I feel for him. I understand it. I don't wish it upon anyone. So he's got a approved excuse out of the show. That's for sure.
There are no excuses.
Yes, there are. There are cases when there needs to be a relinquishment of duties.
Now when you can take a couple of Vicodins and be okay.
Yeah, Vikes. I have to admit, I took Vicodin one time in my life, and it was lovely.
One time?
I only did it once. Yeah, and that wasn't illegal. That was for medical procedure. But I said, you know what? I really don't want any medication. I was never. This is very complicated and winding story, and I'm not going to give it. But anyway, I'm never really big on synthetics, right? Going into my body, even when I didn't even know anything about it, still kind of rubbed me the wrong way, right? It was just, I guess, intuition, or I just got lucky. I don't know. Doesn't matter. And I remember telling the doc, I said, listen, I really don't need anything. He goes, well, I'll give you two Vicodins. And I said, well, what's going on? He said, to take the pain away and make you feel good. That's all he said. I can remember look on his face. I said, okay, all right. So I started hurting the next day, and I said, All right, I'll take a Vicodin. OMG. Listen
Was
to
it for your
Neil
sex
laugh.
change operation?
Say again?
Was it for your sex change
It
operation?
was close.
Whoa, Flatsy.
It was close. You're in the vicinity.
I know exactly what it is because my husband had to do it.
Yeah.
Too.
Honey.
That's too funny. But I'll tell you what, it was glorious. But I didn't take the second one, right? Even though that was glorious. The funny thing was that years later, my daughter went to get her wisdom teeth out, and that's what they prescribed to her. Right? And then I can remember she's walking down the hallway. I said, hey, how's it going? I see a bottle of pills on there. And she goes, yeah, they're Vicodins. I said,
what?
Oh. She goes, I'm going to have about 6 left that I'm not taking. And I said, oh. And no, I didn't do it. I didn't.
Wow, if you drink a beer with one, then you really feel good.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I stayed disciplined and I didn't do it.
All they gave me for my wisdom teeth was ibuprofen.
Oh, they ripped you off, man.
I had a drug plan and everything.
How many wisdom teeth did you get pulled?
All of them.
How many?
4.
Yeah, and they only gave you. When did they pull them?
When I was 19.
That was a long time ago, right?
Oh yeah, like 3 decades ago.
Oh, there you go. That's probably why. They're barbarians back then.
I didn't think they wanted to give teenagers Vicodin.
Vicodin, yeah, that's yeah. Hey, Adam, is that addictive?
Yeah, it's as you said,
kidding me?
It's but Vicodin is a combination, but it's as you said, a synthetic opiate, so hydrocodone or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah. I see that. I don't like opiate. I've taken dihydrocodeine. When you have dental pain over here, you can't get what's in Vicodin, that hydrocodone over here. But see, it just makes me too groggy. The only time I thought it was lovely was I had my knee operation, right?
Right.
And I woke up and they said, "Do you want any pain relief?" And I felt fine. And then like half an hour later, oh God, was I in pain? So I asked for pain relief then, and they gave me a fentanyl injection.
Oh
shit, that was fluffy. I've never felt so cozy, warm, and happy, and just content. Just going, breathing in. Where you go, you breathe in, and it was just such a lovely experience. And then you go, oh, breathe out, and that was just as lovely but different. Yeah, something I'd hate to be on. I can see why it's addictive because it's such a comforting experience.
Yeah, that's the deception.
Well, I had an emergency C-section because I had some problems when I was giving birth to Booger. And the pain medication that they gave me before they cut into me, I couldn't even remember to breathe. So my oxygen started going down. So they thought I was becoming unstable for a minute, but my husband just kind of tapped me on the cheek and it's like, breathe. So
I've been in a couple situations back in the day, we won't get into it, where it was like, how do I breathe? I forgot to breathe. All right, I'm not going to get into that. That's too creepy.
Yeah. Well, mine was for a legitimate situation,
Oh, so you're assuming mine wasn't?
Yep.
Yeah, your assumption would be correct.
I'm usually correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've been there. That was never a good thing. I didn't like that. That's not good. But, being young, like you were talking about in the pre-show, you do some really stupid things for whatever reason, right? People have many different reasons. I don't even want to say it's not even like peer pressure. I mean, it's just like, for me personally, just hanging out with my friends. They were my peers, but there was never any, like, pressure. It was just like everyone just did it. You follow?
I follow. I was young and dumb too.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about anything stupid. Like, and we're just talking about marijuana here. That's all I'm referring to right now. The thought of, I never liked shots to begin with. The thought of, like, shooting something out. No friggin', I don't care if all my friends and their mother and their fathers were doing it. It wouldn't happen. It's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah, right?
I feel the same way. I was never like, oh yeah, let me try some of that. No
Yeah,
way.
right.
I never even saw anyone do it. I was somebody that would run away from a Ouija board, though. So
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's true. But even my friends, you know, hardcore. Now, this was in a different time, man. We're talking about early 70s and stuff, through the mid 70s and the late 70s, but mainly early 70s. So this is a completely different time, right?
Yeah, you're talking to somebody throughout the 90s and early 2000s right now.
Yeah, right. You guys would not be able to, you just wouldn't be able to relate to it because you weren't there, right? So you weren't around that time. It's not a dig on you. You just weren't there. How could you experience that if you weren't there? You can't. So it's not your fault. It was just a different time. So I was there in the 80s and the 90s, 2000, obviously, because I'm talking to you now. And each of those times were different. You know what I'm saying? Just the I don't want to say aura because I don't seem like a hippie or something, but just a different, not culture, just different. I can't put my finger on it.
Probably because in my childhood is when they started coming out with the cell phones, computers, and stuff that was
Sure.
like becoming really popular to be in everyone's home.
Sure. Yep. All right. Anything else?
A different energy to each decade, kind of thing.
Different energy. Yeah, I don't know about energy. What do you mean? Like the energy stopped, like on the date, like January 1st, 1980, the 70s were all lost, or what?
Just a different feeling. Feelings maybe, but just a different feeling. Each decade has a different feeling.
Huh. And maybe
each decade
got
its own kind of predominant drug of choice. But you've got 70s, haven't you?
I'm just not talking about drugs, Adam.
I brought it back to the topic. I was just linking it all back. Yeah. And then 80s, it's basically cocaine. It's Miami Vice. Then 90s, it's MDMA. Then the noughties, I'm not really sure. Everything, I think it's gone back to cocaine now. They even talk about that being a problem at football matches. People using cocaine watching a football game. It's like crazy.
That's super fiber.
He's being silly. Platypus, he said, the irony of QE, the ultimate numpty needler not liking shots.
Ah, nicely done. Yeah, you set that up for your own self. The numpty needler. But fair enough. Thanks for the super chat. Where are we at? I guess it's also your station in life, where you're at in your life. Follow if you're a baby in the 90s, growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, or the other way around, you know, baby in the 80s and then growing up in the 90s. You know what I mean? And where you're at, if you're like in your teens in high school, or you're just starting your career or whatever you're gonna do. And that's all jumbled up into the culture, right? It's a weird thing. I didn't have a point.
What I'll say about the 80s and 90s, 70s too, you can include, is big talk was called out a lot faster, and you couldn't talk it and not do it. You had to do it. There was no internet where you could make all kinds of claims and not deal with them. You had to do it. You know what I mean? It was much more of an action-orientated time.
I was also there, but I was very young in the late 60s. I can remember watching TV in the 60s and seeing the ad for Woodstock. You know, with the bird on the guitar. I can remember
No
that.
way.
Yeah, I can remember that advertisement a number of times coming across the TV on a commercial. You know, black and white TVs. I distinctly remember that. Just looking at it, I said, that's kind of, because I like music even at a young age, and my mom started getting me into playing guitar. But that stood out to me. I said, boy, that's really, I can remember looking at it saying, that's really something. So it's telling you how old I am. Too funny. Yeah, and I think I watched part of the quote unquote. I hate that, by the way. We're going to be dealing with some of that today. Moon landing. I can
Meat hooks?
yeah, meat hooks moon landing. That nicely done. I could still remember that. Just it's very faint though. It's not like the Woodstock one that really stood out to me. It's like imprinted on my memory for some reason. Maybe it was the art form too, because things were changing. A lot of graffiti back in those days, and it was sort of, I don't want to say abstract. It was just something out of the norm. That's probably why it stayed with me. That's probably why I remembered it.
I distinctly remember the Ethiopian famine and Live Aid, because I would have been about 7 or 8, that 8, 9, something like that. Yeah, I remember that distinctly as a child. Live Aid. I remember watching Live Aid live on TV.
Is that when they did that song, We Are the World, We Are the Children? That one?
I'm not sure. I just remember Bob Geldof. And
give me all your fucking money now.
Bob Geldof and David Bowie and that kind of thing. Queen. I remember Queen on the stage there and all that.
No, I'm talking about
from that time.
Yeah, I was talking about We Are the World. You know, the one, Michael Jackson and all those, you know. I watched a documentary on that. That was Michael Jackson, Huey Lewis, all those guys.
It could have been that that's one of those really wishy-washy songs that I would have just completely ignored. If it's wishy-washy, I don't care what age it was, I'm having nothing to do with it.
When was that? Let me go back. You know what? Is that an associate? Are we talking about the same event? Probably not.
They're a bit different. It's too
annoying not to have.
What's the something?
Hello.
What? Hello? What?
I said Brian has to know the song. It was too annoying not to have heard it.
So that was We Are the World. That was for the USAA for Africa in 1985 by Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson. Yes.
No.
That's not Live Aid, though.
That's the bandwagon that you Americans got on after realizing this was a gravy train. So we started it with, do they know it's Christmas time?
Yes.
Yeah. Then after that got popular, then the American pop stars thought, bloody hell, this is brilliant. And they did that one that you're on about afterwards.
That's correct.
Yeah, I was living in Berlin at the time, so I wouldn't be aware of any happenings, sociologically speaking, except ones that immediately impact me. So,
yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one thing that makes me laugh. I love America. I love Americans, but the one thing that makes me laugh is that everything has to have the American version. Like there's no such thing as a plumber. There's an American plumber. Just a plumber. But no,
Hey,
the
Adam,
American
speaking
plumber.
of those concerts, what about the Live Aid concert? You know who was at that Live Aid concert? Led Zeppelin. But you know who stole the show? Oh, yeah. It wasn't Jimmy Page and Robert Plant.
Was it Queen?
It was Queen.
Yeah, I've seen
Darn
that.
right.
I seen it later. Yeah, but Zeppelin was Zeppelin was old news then. They had already broken up years and years before that.
Yeah, because Bonham wasn't there.
Yep. So, so there he is, Mr. Dentistry down there in the corner. You may begin. Hope you're feeling better, Nathan.
Take a Vike.
Yeah. Here we go, circling back to that again. Nah, we won't. Okay. Well, why don't we get into the show for which we came here today? Because last time we tried this, we got off topic real quick, and I let her budge because that's what I do. So let me set this up. We're gonna get back into Witsit. I know that's why you all came, right? Yes.
I came because I'm a ball buster.
Oh, that's the only. Okay, fair enough. All right.
I think everything that we do in the ball buster arena is valuable.
Huh. Oh, it's not showing up. All right, let me cancel that out. Hold on a second, folks. Discord, they got to update their friggin' share screen. Get it semi-working. I have to do special things. Didn't have to do.
Just out of interest,
mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised you've not mentioned it, but what were your speeds today, and what are they now?
I did. I caught myself earlier this morning doing it again because it's so addicting, right? So, but we were talking about how in a few more weeks I won't be doing any more speeds. I'll take it for granted. But just to let you know, I did a speed this morning. Yes, I'm still doing it. So it was a good call on your part. It was download 860 and upload was 978 or something like that. Somewhere in that vicinity. Just ludicrous speeds. Ludicrous.
But you need to start calling them American uploads.
No, I don't.
It's not just upload speed. It's American upload speed.
It's an F-150 upload speed.
Yeah.
All right. I think I got everything set up. Oh, and I have a setup screen. That's too funny. That just aligned perfectly. In OBS, it says setup in scene. So I set up and then I said setup. Just never mind. Don't worry about it. I will be popping back and forth a little bit. I'm talking to the Discord folks that you won't be able to see when I pull this up on my screen. But if you've got YouTube up in the background, you'll be able to see it then. Just keep the volume. Go on mute on the video and you'll see it there. I'm not going to go there too many times, but I'm going to go there a couple times and I'll let everyone in Discord know when I'm going there so they don't just jump right in because they're not seeing anything. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
No, there's super fiber, super upload speed, super 150 upload speeds.
So, yeah, okay. Bree sent, love the work you do, QE. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you.
Bree's, she says she's been around, but I haven't seen her around until recently, and she seems very cool.
I've noticed. Yeah. But there's been so many people. Thanks, Bree, by the way. Appreciate it. I think Bree's been around here for a little while, but she's not always here. Is the feeling I got because I noticed her name before it. I recognized it when it popped up last week. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Who knows?
All good. Just nice to meet her.
I could be on Vikes. You never know.
My upload speed is 86 today.
That's horrible. But
well, Yeah, my download is 720. My upload is 86. I was curious. I had to find out. So I
Yep,
did.
that's typical. Go ahead, Adam.
Just a matter of pleasantries. Can you just scroll down on the YouTube just to remind everybody where we're actually at, what we're doing? This is 17. What is it? Which?
Oh yeah, I'm
Not
gonna definitely brief it. Yes.
That's right, because I can't remember how long ago it was. But,
I'll throw the
I
video
mean-
up. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I wasn't gonna go there first, but I guess I will now since Adam's forcing me. So this
It's only because
is
it was on screen.
yeah, it's on
There you
your
go.
screen. It's not on the YouTube screen until I put it over there. now it's on YouTube screen. So this is FED 1702. This is from 2 years ago. The exact date is August 2nd, 2022. A lot of twos in there. And this one,
Brian.
second.
Just ask Brian what that means.
Does Brian know what a lot of twos
He
mean?
doesn't know what a lot of twos mean.
Does he? I thought he was addicted to the number 9. Number 9.
Whoa.
It's his favourite.
What about it? Yeah, it's just number. Yeah. What is
It's
that?
QE,
Well, yeah.
Brian, not me or you. It's QE, the cute, quirky numerologist. Saying all this.
No, I'm not into that. I just made a mention that there was a lot of twos. 1702 and August 2nd, 2022. Just a lot of twos. Just it's probably
That
just
doesn't
cool.
mean anything. It has to be just twos. Just, you know what I mean?
And it's
If you're
not.
going to try and make anything out of it, numerologically, it has to be twos. Just twos.
Oh,
Not
just
like
it has
some
to
other
be.
numbers with it.
It has to be all
Yeah.
twos.
I think that's pretty weird because you said 1702, right?
Yeah.
That's the episode we're on.
Yes.
That was an old address of mine.
Oh, look, coincidences everywhere. It must mean something, but yeah. Okay, like I said, this is 1702. This is when the Efer was first born. Now, it was born way before this, back in the old Greek times. But this was, this was brought to, I would say, the introduction of Efers to this meat hook community. Okay, so this is when it was first brought out by Whitsitt, and I think we went over a couple minutes. We didn't get very far. Hopefully, we'll get farther today because I don't want to stay here till 2028. I'm gonna go slow like Lasses in wintertime, but not that slow. All right, so what I wanted to do was go to just a little to get everyone updated on where we're at. So this is the review. You guys aren't going to see it in Discord. Just relax. We'll get back there. So this is the review of the Efers claims made by shape-shifting, double-speaking Efer clowns. So this is what we got to so far. I wanted to write these down to get me, focused, get us back on the train. So these were stated. So there's either something there or there's nothing. Okay? Nothing cannot exist. That's a double negative, by the way. Appeals to atoms and molecules in a vacuum where there are no natural vacuums. And from somebody that doesn't believe in atoms and molecules, I thought that kind of strange. When you have a quote-unquote vacuum, like I was saying before, the quote-unquote, what does that mean? I mean, other than meat hooks. I've been seeing a lot of people do that lately, by the way. It's starting to really aggravate me. But I digress. So number one, there isn't a natural vacuum. There just isn't. They don't exist. So why are we even here? But what does a quote-unquote vacuum mean? Is that different than a vacuum? We don't.
Well, there is a vacuum up high in the sky.
No, there is no high vacuum. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about,
All right, you're not talking about 10 to the -2 torque kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that one. And maybe that's a good point. Maybe I should pull up. I will do that, Brian. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to do that here in a couple seconds because they do identify what vacuums are. In fact, they think that anything above sea level that's less than 760 torr, they term as a vacuum. So I guess we need to be a little bit specific on what we're talking about. I'm saying where I need to be a little bit more specific on what I talk about. So we'll go back. We'll get there. Just give me a moment. Also, it was stated, if we have vacuum energy, quote unquote. Well, we don't have a vacuum. That's for sure. And vacuum energy, don't know what that. You can't have vacuum energy if you don't have a vacuum, if you guys can follow that. And even if we did have vacuum energy, what's the difference between vacuum energy and vacuum energy, quote unquote? I guess that's what we would like to know. And then the last one. Logically, there's a background medium. It seems to be the antecedent of propagation. So this is a very important term, right? And this monkey needs to be defined also. We'll define that, and then we'll go back to the vacuum. How about that? So, okay, let's define terms.
Give me that last one again.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Give me that last one again.
Logically, there's a background medium. It seems to be the antecedent of propagation, period.
Brilliant.
Now, there's some other problems here. What do you mean by propagation? That's another term that we'll probably run into. But I wanted to focus on the background medium. Since we're talking physics here, right, our physical reality, then we need to define this monkey. So let's define it. From the physics classroom, a medium is a substance or material that carries the wave. The wave? Is that the definite article? Or a wave? Not too sharp right there, physics classroom, but okay. I mean, we get the gist. It's a substance or material, obviously. From their alma mater wiki, transmission medium in physics and telecommunications, any material substance which can propagate waves or energy. So we got a lot of waves. We got propagate too. Okay, so the propagation of waves carries the wave, right? So yeah, we got everything lining up. They're echoing each other somewhat, but the main point is they're substantive. Follow? The last one from Digest.com. In physics, that's what we're looking at here. Medium is defined as the substance. So everyone, keep in mind, this is what we're talking about here. So you got to keep that in the background. Whenever you hear this word come up, you say, okay, well, if you say medium, it has to be a substantive. It's a material. So this one says is defined as the substance that transfers the energy or light. Got a big problem already. From one substance to another substance, or from one place to another, or from one surface to another. So, interesting. Okay, I just want everyone to focus on it's a substance. It has to be material, right? It can't be immaterial. That would make no sense for a medium. Everyone follow on that? All right, let's go back. I didn't forget, Brian. I can focus. We're going to go back to what is defined as vacuum. Yep. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Ah, it's too big. You guys won't see this. Let's try this little. That's much better. So when I say medium, I'm not. You could just go through the definitions on your own. You can rewind. I'll keep it up there for a couple minutes. What I'm speaking to is anything from a high vacuum, they call it a hard vacuum, and higher. That's what I mean. So these do not exist in nature. I don't even think the medium vacuum does. But when I say medium, when I say vacuum, I intuitively think high vacuum up. So from 10 to the negative 3 torr and up. That's what I think of. We all on the same sheet of music there? So everything's just... Go ahead.
Yeah.
I want clarity.
Yeah.
Brian, did you invoke to the -2, didn't you?
Yeah, but Kiwi is saying 10 to the -3. I mean, we don't... There's no measurements of atom that I'm aware of from high altitude balloons that goes above 10 to the -3.
Right.
tour.
Now, look,
I have not seen any myself.
like I was talking about, these vacuum level ranges, remember I said it's from just above sea level? So they call a vacuum, whoever they are, the low vacuum. See, it's already a vacuum from 700. They're even calling 760. They should have put 759 to 25 Torr. So that's how this is classified. I've looked at many different sources, and all the sources are pretty much say the same. They're really close to each other.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Could I make a comment on that?
Yeah, go
ahead. Their classification from 760 Torr being and on down, let's just say, because rather than up, it'll be on down.
Yep.
Is a vacuum is based off of their pre-assumption that from that point on, it gradually becomes a very high vacuum within their paradigm. They're working within their paradigm when they're saying that, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
A heliocentric paradigm, yeah.
And it's just a convention. All this is a man-made convention, right? But there's levels here, and I felt it appropriate, since you brought it up, to go ahead. And when I say vacuum, this is what I mean. Okay? Clear?
Yeah, no one can hold you to a task now on that and to talk about the vacuum in the sky. Because you're not talking about that. You're talking about a high vacuum.
Yes. High, ultra high, extremely high, and what they term as outer space. Yep. Yeah. Everyone squared away on that. That was a good point, Brian. Thanks for bringing that up, because that was off my radar.
I wasn't trying to be a smart ass. Sorry, Adam.
That was good, Brian. Your real world example actually didn't even meet the definition of a medium vacuum. It was an order of magnitude out.
You'll have that. All right, let's get back. Okay, so we did the whole preamble. Are we good, Adam? We got everyone on the same sheet of music, you think?
We're right at the coda.
I didn't know that differential there. Thanks, Brian.
I'm not being facetious. I'm asking you a legitimate question. We good? We all caught. Do we need any more background before we begin?
No, just maybe a reminder that if we are invoking a medium, it is by its very definition something that exists in physicality.
Yes.
That would make the whole thing a contradiction, because you can't have a medium in between molecules in a vacuum. Let's just say a high vacuum. You can't have that medium and it be a vacuum.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it not have any physicality.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't have physical matter in between the molecules, filling up the spaces in between, and still call it a vacuum if it's physical matter. You know, you can have energy, but you can't have matter.
Yeah, but that's still physical. That's still something.
It is, but it's not tangible. It's not matter. It's not a medium.
Yeah, but it's still physical.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm saying it's not tangible and physical, like matter. It's energy, not matter. I'm saying is that how can you have a vacuum? How can you even call something a vacuum if you're saying there's a medium, which would be something that's made of matter in between the molecules?
I see I see where you're going. Exactly. So it's all convoluted, contradictory paradoxes, right? If you do say things like that, is what you're trying to say. Yes, correct. So you could get confused real easy, but I will stop at each point. I may miss some because there's so many that come out all of a sudden. Like, I'm usually pretty sharp on them, but if I miss them, I'm sure you'll stop. You'll stop me, right? And say, hey, QE, you missed this one. Right? So there's so many. I'm only human. All right, we good, Adam? MC?
Let's perturbate the shit out of this.
Make sure you turn your volumes up. All right, I'm operating 5x5. Oh, by the way, I got 0.0 drop frames. Just want to let you know, because I feel the need for speed, baby. Okay.
We couldn't tell.
Yeah, I know you couldn't. I just wanted to remind you.
That's Super F1.
The Super F-150 speed, yes.
No, the Super F-150 American upload speed.
Can't do that, man. I just spit out all the water all over my friggin' screen.
Sorry.
Hold on a second, folks.
I tried to make while they get sorted, I tried to make a joke out of you asking us if we were on the same sheet of music. I said, yes, we're right at the coda.
We're right at the what?
The coda.
My pay grade.
That's a music term. What does that mean?
It's a place, like a symbol that you reach in music on like the sheet music where you have to go back and repeat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the coda. When you see that symbol, you'll know to look for another symbol that will give you your starting, where you start, and replay a section of the music again.
Oh, so somebody that
But
can
it could
read.
be.
We have a ball buster that can read music.
Yes, I can read music. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go back, it can be a different thing, a different set of music that you play, because it could, vary. But for the most part, you play the same thing over again, maybe with a different ending.
Well, thank you. Does music need a medium?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't. That didn't sound too strong. You lack commitment.
It was weird. It was weirdly worded. Like to play music, you need a medium, because sound carries through air.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Thought I'd compromise you, but thank you. We all learned something today. A coda. Right? All right. Thanks, Flatsy. All right.
Got it.
We're gonna push this off. Any objections, or can I roll on? I'm not gonna pull a fiver or anything either. We're just gonna roll. If you just object, all right. Here we go.
Background medium. Okay. So background as in behind other ground.
Yeah, just like the background medium effectively. Like, say if you have vacuum energy, quote unquote, like what's the energy within?
So if you have background energy, what's the energy within?
It wasn't the question though, was it, from Nathan?
No.
It was background medium.
Yes.
Well, I can't answer that because in of itself, you've got to then say, well, that's not physical then. He didn't want to deal with the nonsense he's just presented. A background medium.
Yes, he's answered.
By the term background, we don't mean in the distance, yeah? That's in the background, isn't it? In a photo. What are we talking about here? Is this physics phrase, the background medium? No, it's just made up nonsense.
Yes.
In background, meaning what? Meaning not in reality is the only thing, not in physicality. So this background medium isn't in physicality, then therefore by definition, not a medium.
It's not a medium, correct.
Well, maybe if you emphasize the before saying background medium, it will be more clarifying.
It won't. It doesn't save it.
It helps you pre-assume it exists, doesn't it? Flatsy. The background medium. Yeah.
I would say you can't prove it necessarily, but I would just say it's an antecedent in my assessment. Meaning, like if you have something propagating, something has.
Yeah. I was going to. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's the admission that you need. We're done. And want me to round out because he's just said I can't prove it.
Yes.
Well, what you want to know about then? What are you babbling on about to people?
Yes. Okay, so we can end it right there. Go ahead, Adam. Take us home.
Yeah.
No.
Thanks, Flatsy.
No.
And no, let the grift continue.
Yeah, we're not going to stop. Sorry.
Has to sustain the propagation or the energy.
So to sustain, you have a background medium to sustain what propagation? Assuming that we all seen propagation in the previous definitions associated with waves. Where's the wave at? And where's it at? Give us the whole context of
it. So I would call it a medium.
So you can't
like
prove
a background
it, but
medium.
it's an antecedent. Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what is it?
Yeah, you can ignore the question, but you're not answering the question.
He said we can ignore the question, but we're not answering the question. What's the question? And Brian's jumping in there. Here we go.
I agree with
the
Whitsitt.
question.
You agree with Whitsitt, flat Earth, solar? Yeah, because you're a moron. Because this is all moronic. It's already over. You haven't been paying attention, have you? That's this guy right here commenting. I don't know why he's involved in the conversation.
Because he knows he's already on his arse. That's semi-white knighting, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's not making a point. I agree with Whitsitt. Oh, Pamela. Yeah? Just a desperate attempt to give Whitsitt time to breathe and think and reset.
Yep.
I agree with Whitsitt.
The question, but...
If you look at the greats, the heavy sides, the Planck, Maxwell.
Huh? When I think of the greats, heavy side isn't a name that comes to mind. He's so great that he conjured the ionosphere. Right? So he's a baltard, idiot baltard. I'm not thinking of him. That's for sure. And Maxwell, let's just... Oh, super fiber, super Maxwell.
Yeah, Bree said, can we please point out that Whitsitt creates a false analogy by comparing light waves to mechanical waves like water and sound? Entirely different.
Yeah, he hasn't done that just yet. So yes, Bree, we will point that out when it comes time. It's just not there just yet. So he said, but thanks for the super chat. So flat Earth solar appealing to heavy side. What a joke. Planck. Okay, I get it. And Maxwell. Let's just deal with this right now. You guys won't see this but people on YouTube will. So let's deal with Maxwell real quick. His name is James Clerk Maxwell. And if you ever read anything from Einstein, people often asked him, so you stood on the shoulders of giants, implying that he stood on the shoulders of Newton. Nope, he didn't. Einstein said he stood on the shoulders of Maxwell. Just FYI. I could track that down right now, but I'm not going to. Take my word for it. So, like I said right here, Maxwell's demise was swift. And I'm not making this up. We're looking at Professor Shankar, chair professor of physics at Yale. So, you got to deal with this guy, right? Not QE. He's telling you, not me. Here we go. All right, so today we're going to shoot down Newtonian mechanics and Maxwell's theory. Huh? We're like the press. We build somebody up only to destroy them. Build up Newton, shot down. Build up Maxwell, gonna get shot down. When I first came across this, I was like, wow, really? You just come out and said that? And that was that he said it pretty confidently, right? And if you ever watch presentations by this guy, I like him a lot, by the way, even though he's a baltard. I like his teaching style. I like his mannerisms. I think he's an outstanding teacher. Not that he's right all the time. I'm not saying that. But when you're talking to chair of physics at Yale, this isn't your average Joe Snuffy on the corner, if you know what I mean. He also states, so here's what you do to find out what's wrong with electrodynamics. I mean, Maxwell's theory. It all starts with the double-slit experiment. So everything looks good for Maxwell till, see, this is a big word, till you start doing the following experiment. Just a small digression. If you ever want to do a Bible study and you got an electronic concordance, type the word till in it, and you're off and running. It's going to bring you to some serious, important issues. So that word, every time I see that word, it just brings me back to Scripture. So he says, so.
Whoa.
What?
Till? I heard the word experiment there.
Yeah. Super tills.
Tim states, he sent a sticker, keep it up.
Well, thank you. I will. Go ahead, Adam. Yeah, he did say experiment. So what's the problem, Adam?
that implies that until this proof.
Yes. Until you demonstrate it, and I'll give you the unless you're going to go and watch this presentation, which I suggest you do. It is on YouTube. Just go to Yale, Professor Shankar, and you can pull it up. The key experiments in wave particle duality. It'll pop up for you. It's a long. I think that one's a pretty long one, but it's enjoyable. You could always go back and rewind if it goes too fast for you. But anyway, his example was back in the day, back in 1910, 1915 area. What they did was they took an extremely weak light source, right? And they took it far away. It doesn't matter. It could be a double slit or single slit. Doesn't matter. Took it far enough away and then had a photographic plate, right? And what they did was they just waited to see what would happen. And they'd wait and wait and wait. And finally, a photon, something would happen on that photographic plate. The instant that a dot appeared, it was curtains for Maxwell. That's why he's saying this. It's all over. It's that easy. He's done. That's why he's saying all this stuff. Just FYI. But I did want to go over that. You know what? There's something else that I wanted to go over. Let's try this. You guys ain't going to be able to see this in Discord either. Let's do this. I haven't played this in a while. Go to copy link, and I'll give you some background with this. Hold on one second. This is from Hamamatsu Photonics.
At Harbor Freight,
I don't really care about Harbor Freight. This is. Just hold up a second, folks, and we'll get through these ads. I hit play. Let's go. Okay. Let's go back 5 seconds. All right. So this is from Hamamatsu Photonics in 1982. They're still in big business, by the way. That's the year I graduated from high school, for crying out loud. See, he's confident for a very good reason. Mr. Shankar. Go back a little bit here. Let's roll from here.
I kissed Melanie Dexter back in 1982.
Did?
Yeah.
I feel sorry.
I was
for
9.
her.
I was trying to figure. Yeah. Melanie Dexter.
My apologies to Melanie.
He was my first kiss. That's how you remember it.
So I'm just fucking you out. So this is Hamamatsu Photonics, and listen up.
1,000,000 times darker than that. Now let's start our experiment.
This isn't an experiment, folks, but we'll give them some grace. This is a demonstration.
Light source is a low-pressure mercury lamp. We use ultraviolet light passed through a metal interference filter. The light has a wavelength of 253.7 nanometers. It passes through a single slit to increase coherence, and then goes through the double slits. We observe and record its behavior. Now we reduce the amount of light with neutral density filters.
People in Discord, you're not hearing this or seeing this, are you?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
I don't
you
think they're
are.
on
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay, cool.
The photon count is 100 per second. At this intensity, no more than 1 photon at a time will be in the test device. This is the light intensity region where we make our measurements. The experiment has begun. The particles of light that have passed through the slits appear on the
Did he say particles of light? Interesting.
monitor as small points.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you see this dot appear on the screen when you're shining a light through your double slit, it's over for Maxwell. That's why Shankar said that. It's over. So they knew this long before 1982, but this is the oldest one that I could get, that I found on the internet.
So this demonstration is based off of the actual double slit experiment.
Yeah.
It's more like a more high-tech way to demonstrate it, right?
Yeah, it's not an experiment, it's a demonstration, because they're not looking for cause and effect here. There's no hypothesis. This is just a demonstration. So let's keep it going. Let's see what.
3 minutes later, the behavior of the particles seems completely random. The experiment continues. After 25 minutes, a pattern is emerging in the distribution of particles. 6 hours later, a fringe pattern has appeared.
So everyone get it. So the fringe pattern, or the wave interference pattern, is made up of trillions of particle hits. Simple. I wanted just to show you, just let you know why he was so like, as a matter of fact, Shankar, because they'd known this for even decades before that. All right, everyone on the same sheet of music.
Could you
go,
Adam? Do you want to go ahead?
Go. What?
Could you explain why that debunked Maxwell?
Well, Maxwell,
everyone knows.
Yeah, electromagnetic waves. Maxwell said that light was a wave. Well, no, it's not. So as soon as that particle, as soon as the discrete chunk hit that screen, it was over.
The reason I drop a stone, well, it might help. If I drop a stone into the medium of water and a wave goes out, when that wave the first bit of the wave, the leading edge, hits the shore, does the rest of the wave not hit the shore?
No. So it's a transverse dimension type of thing. So once you're starting to get discrete chunks, that's what quantum is. It's this discrete chunks.
Well,
So
that's what I was going to get to. So what we see on that screen isn't the effect of a wave, a transverse wave.
Yes.
Yeah, what we see is discrete quanta hitting. And the analogy I'm using is, if you think about it, if you're going to describe it as a wave, and the rest of the wave should hit, not just the first bit to hit the shore.
Sure.
Now, this is where what Q is showing, the misconception. There is no wave. There's only a wave when you try to describe the pattern mathematically.
Correct.
Which is what the pretty picture you see at the end.
Yeah. The collective pattern, not the individual hits that make it up. Those aren't friggin' waves. Right? And that wave is not like a water wave. It's not water.
And you've been saying this since I met you. Right. So I didn't miss it. So when Witsit or anyone who I've heard call us, or tell us we're strawmanning them, and then they tell me what QE's position is, or anybody on the panel's position, they conveniently forget that we're the ones that told them this. I don't get it.
So this is a fallacy where you have a similar result, and so you assume that it must have been caused by the same mechanical means. So water waves can have an interference pattern.
Yes.
And if you charted it out in a particular way, they would look similar to a final interference pattern after you run this test for a long period of time, right?
Yep.
And back in the day, people were confusing the two. And there was I can't remember the guy's name, but he put forth this argument by demonstrating it in water and showing the guys that it makes these interference lines. And he says, oh, it must be a wave then. And everyone's like, wow, you're a genius.
The reason I asked you that, QE, is because often people refer to Maxwell when they're speaking about electricity and magnetism. And because he was saying that light was an electromagnetic wave, people can be often confused. They'll start trying to send you papers. Oh, read this paper from Maxwell, or this thing based off of what Maxwell's. Do you know what I mean? I've had that kind of stuff happen here and there. I know other people have too. It's like, no, it's very simplistic. It's not, light's not electric, it's not magnetic, and it's not a wave. So Maxwell was just wrong in the story.
Yes.
So when they keep referring to him when it comes to magnetism and electricity at different times. And I think it confuses people as to why you would say, like, why are you saying that Maxwell is debunked? So someone who doesn't have clarity on the situation, now they do.
Yep, they do now.
Nice.
You didn't. It's nice. It's light's neither electric nor magnetic, and it's not a wave. There you go. A lot of people don't know the difference. By the way, I'll digress into another point between electromagnetism and magnetism. A lot of people don't know that. We're going to get into that here in a few minutes. So, may I continue? We're still dealing with flat Earth, solar idiocy.
All of their magnetic discoveries.
Magnetic discoveries? Are we talking about magnetism here? No.
On magnetism, always.
Magnetic, he said magnetic discoveries on magnetism.
Profound.
Were built on the foundation of something to allow the propagation.
Propagation of what? Magnetic waves?
Whether we call it ether or something else, it's the same as a wave on water.
No, it's not. False equivalence fallacy.
That wave cannot transfer unless there was the liquid water in the first place.
Well, duh. Everyone knows that, but that's a physical wave.
Yeah, but this is always the false equivalence fallacy they use.
Yep.
To invoke a medium for you to try and understand what medium. Back to the beginning. Yeah. Don't invoke a wave in a fallacy in water.
Yep.
We know what the medium is. It's the water.
Yes.
And when he stated, just quickly, when he stated earlier that all the people of the past invoked a medium, well, that doesn't make them right.
Correct.
Does it?
Specifically, no, we're not going to get into that yet. Just hold off. Here we go.
To allow the energy to transfer through the liquid. So it's the same. We're observing wave-like and particle-like.
We're observing wave-like and particle-like. What? Where are we observing it?
Tendencies.
Wave-like and particle-like tendencies. That's what we're observing. Huh? Who, what, when, where, why, and how?
And for those things to be observed, like Whitsitt put it eloquently, he
didn't put it eloquently. He contradicted himself. Eloquently, yeah.
Has to be some kind of.
Is there an eloquent contradiction? Maybe.
Of a substrata or a.
Substrata. That's substrate. That is a material substance for a medium. You're finished.
A background medium.
Nope, those two don't fit. A background immaterial medium and a substrate. Contradiction. Paradox.
Which that
I got a question for Whitsitt.
This is very important question. A very important question that wasn't allowed to go to its ends. I'm going to shout out 10th Man. He's all over this. Listen to what he asks.
I got a question for Whitsitt. Does he accept the presupposition of the vacuum of space?
No, of course not. I'm not.
Yeah, of course not. No, you see where 10th is going. Everyone, see the next statement that's going to come out of 10th's mouth. Guess what it was going to be. You won't hear it because he was interrupted. But he's right on it. So what would his next question be after Whitsitt said, no, he does not presuppose the idiocy of the vacuum of space? 10th is getting ready to say, then you have no argument.
Yeah.
Yep.
Want an answer, or you?
Do I want an answer? What do you mean?
Or is it a rhetorical question for you to just press play?
I am going to press play, but I wanted to preface it before he was interrupted. So shout out to 10th. Good job. I know where you're headed, and you're right on point.
Psycho.
Do you substitute it with ether?
So Nathan interrupts and asks Witsit if he substitutes it with ether. Shouldn't have done that, Nathan. Because 10th was about ready to end the discussion quickly. But this is what happens in the heat of battle. I just wanted to point out 10th. Thumbs up to 10th. I know where you're going. Good job. You're right. And you're right on point. Any comments? Should I keep going?
I'll reserve my comment.
Okay.
I would say you can't not have a background. Like I don't like flat earthers that say ether and pretend that they have it defined and know.
He doesn't like flat earthers that say ether and pretend like they got it defined and even its name. He doesn't like them. But what's he doing here? He's guilty of what he just said he doesn't like flat earthers doing. It makes no sense.
Know exactly what it is, but I just leave it open-ended. Like the necessary.
You leave what open-ended? What are we talking about? The necessary antecedent to what?
To gas pressure is a container, but
the necessary antecedent to gas pressure is a container. What does that have to do with Efers? Absolutely nothing.
When he says he wants to leave it open-ended, what he really means is, I'm leaving it for you to accept what I'm telling you.
You need to
That's
fix
all
your,
he's saying.
Elijah, you need to fix your mic. Sound like you're talking into a pillow. So let's get the whole thing.
It's getting a point of agreement. Okay. Everyone's going to agree. You can't have gas pressure without a container before he goes on to his false equivalence fallacy. He's just trying to get you on board so you nod subconsciously in your head. Yeah, that's why he's invoked. Why else does he invoke that? Yeah, as an antecedent, so an equivalence. It's now going to give you a false equivalence.
Exactly.
To have something, you have to have, or to have nothing, you have to have something in the background that isn't something in the first place because it's not physical, or it might be physical. I'm not sure, so I want to dodge that point.
So he's going to feebly compare it. You're right on this. It's a false equivalence fallacy. Check this out. You won't be able to see this, by the way. Oops. Where'd it go? Somewhere in here. Here it is. This is the false equivalence fallacy. You guys can't see this. I have gas pressure, necessary antecedent container, consequent gas pressure. Everyone knows this. This is a valid necessary antecedent consequent scenario. Witsit's necessary antecedent, substanceless immaterial medium. That's a paradox. That's his necessary antecedent. His consequent is electromagnetic waves. Don't exist. That's the difference. That's what Adam's speaking to.
What a horrible hill to die on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yep. Well, he's going to die on it. Let him do it.
Flat earthers that say ether and pretend that they have it defined and know exactly what it is. But I just leave it open-ended. Like the necessary antecedent to gas pressure is a container, but when someone says, well, what's the container made of? Where's it at?
Not what's the container. There's a difference between the and a. The container, well, would have to be able to get there. It's irrelevant anyway, because we know that a container is required for gas pressure. See that the little bait and switch he did with the and a? It's subtle. You got to be
like
a good
the background medium, like.
Yep. Yep.
Can you bottle the container up for me? No, I just know the antecedent to gas pressure is a container. I know the antecedent.
Well, then you just screwed your argument right there. He just train wrecked his own position.
See it to propagation as a medium to sustain the propagation. So
a medium to sustain the propagation of what? Yeah. Nothing.
That's kind of where I am. And ironically, heliocentrism is actually what did away with that.
Were you trying to talk, Brian? Because this is going to get confusing between you trying to talk on the live stream.
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was trying to talk. Yeah. Could you make the claim that light propagates?
No, he's not there yet. By the way.
Yeah, but the point I'm making
depends
is,
on the definition of propagation.
Yeah, let's hold off. No, don't anticipate. Let's hold off on that for now. Okay, thanks.
Because like electrical field theory kind of...
Electrical field theory doesn't and never existed. I caught him in 24/7 and exposed this. AI, you remember that?
Maybe.
It wasn't that long ago.
Listen, I huff a lot of paint thinner, all right? Go easy on me.
I huff a lot of paint thinner, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I challenged him. I said, whoa, electrical field theory, where'd that come from? And I said, is that a scientific theory? And he said, yes. I said, observe natural phenomena, please. You know where I was rightly going. So that went on for 30 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember now. That was the night that you made me stay up all night and then bailed on everybody and said, I'm going to bed and you guys can all suffer.
Yeah, we finished at 3:30 in the morning, dude.
No, you finished at 3:30.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't take it any longer, man. It was so late. But sorry about that.
Was this when you guys had your spat on 24/7?
Yes, not that long ago. Yeah, electrical field.
Right.
Electrical field theory was brought up. Now, he's not indicted right here because that just happened recently. But still, he's just making shit up right here. That's the point.
Knew you had to have something sustain it. And then the philosophical devotion to heliocentrism is why it was done away with. So it's just kind of like a framework to understand electrical field theory.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. It's not a scientific theory.
I don't agree with anyone making definitive claims about it, but
we already heard this 3 times. He keeps on going back to this appeal that he doesn't agree with anyone that makes any claims about Efers or even its name, but that's what he's doing. So it's like it's inbuilt contradiction, for God's sake. Go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't say that he sent them, but he created these little Muppets that go out into the wild and fall on their sword.
I only met, since this began back in 2022, probably a little bit before that, I've only run into, personally myself, 2 of them. And that's it. And you see this dumpster fire here? That's what it turned into real quick.
The way I look at it is either you can ignore the question.
Ignore what question? What's the question?
As in, what's the vacuum energy in?
Say again?
Please. Can I just get 2 J's? I just want to hear that.
Oh, you want to hear the whole thing? I'll give you another J, okay? Make sure you belly up to that mic, too. Here we go. Tell me when to stop.
Because like electrical field theory kind of knew you had to have something sustain it. And then the philosophical devotion to heliocentrism is why it was done away with. So it's just kind of like a framework to understand electrical field theory. I don't agree with anyone making definitive claims about it, but
okay, that's where I stopped it before.
He doesn't agree with anyone making definitive claims about it. He's going to make some.
Yes.
If you can't make them, why are you even talking about it?
And
why are you presenting it as something reasonable if you can't make a definitive claim about it? What is going off? Yeah,
nothing.
It's like an encyclopedia salesman coming to your door. He hasn't got the books. You might be able to buy the books. I just want to get you interested in the book. Books. Have you got the books? Well,
it's worth no.
Give you the books.
Yeah,
it's more like he's a cult leader. Well, You can't make the statement on it, but I can.
Hey.
I have the knowledge.
Elijah, fix that mic, man.
Just before you press play, this is only opinion, right? So it's opinion based. But you said earlier when you said he was making shit up, I think at this stage my final assessment on him would be that he has been so eager to support the ether claim that he didn't actually research things properly and just went with what was a confirmation bias. Like, he should have found out, because he knew what a scientific theory was. He should have found out that before this point, like, that was not a theory. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. And I just think it's ignorance with him that he allows confirmation bias to blind him. That's my opinion.
Well, where did electric field theory come into this anyway? I thought we were in a vacuum. So this is sort of an incoherent red herring fallacy?
And I was thinking the same thing, Brian. But again, we've identified the problem because, again, when I met with Whitsitt in person, and then he's echoed this, in a few Discord rooms, what is the scientific method really good for? Doesn't actually prove anything. So why on earth would you think that he would question whether or not the electric field theory is actually scientific? Because he doesn't actually believe in the epistemology to begin with.
Well, at the end of our discussion, he acquiesced and said, "You're right, it's not." So that's contradictory to what you just said. So yeah.
But in his logic, then he's not got any direct evidence for it. But what would constitute evidence for it?
What
if we reject science? What is gonna? Is it just a logical framework that's gonna manifest itself into
physical reality?
Well, into physical evidence, yeah.
I can assure you, it's not. But yeah, this is getting a little creepy. Here we go.
The way I look at it is either you can ignore the question.
Well, what's the question? Oh, that's where I stopped before.
As in, what's the vacuum energy in?
What's the vacuum energy in? Okay, that's the question. Let me write this down. Question.
All right.
Question. What's the vacuum energy in?
What's the thing I've just made up that by its own definition is nonsensical, the energy of nothing? What's the energy of nothing in? I'm going to go with nothing.
You're going to have to put 1A and 1B too for the next thing he says.
Oh, I'm going to have to go back. I want to get this. I want to get him exactly.
The way I look at it is either you can ignore the question, as in what's the vacuum energy in, or what?
Okay, what's the vacuum energy in? Okay. Oh, you're already all over this. What's 1B? I'll just play it.
What exactly is there? Either it's nothingness or
is it actually there? Or is what actually there? Or is it actually there? So I guess that's the B part. Or
can I? Sorry.
No, you can't. Actually there. Okay, now you can.
I'm going to make a possibly unpopular statement, but the term vacuum energy makes no sense.
Right.
Not only is vacuum has nothing to do with energy, but the third law of thermodynamics, the reason that it's stated that you can't have a perfect vacuum is because there is energy.
Yes.
Right.
Fair enough.
So the term vacuum energy is another contradiction.
Right. That's after the fact though of where you're getting a vacuum from.
Oh, hold on.
I'm not denying that.
Fred.
Good.
I want to shout out Flatsy. Flatsy made an astute observation when we covered this very same topic in the past, which was that to create a vacuum, at best, on Earth, you have to contain it with a container that has walls which are directly contacting the minimal amounts of whatever you want to call it, particles, atoms that are still inside. So you haven't created an empty space to judge whether energy comes from empty space to claim there's vacuum energy at all.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that is true.
Mike needs sorting out AI.
Well, I was just saying that, I mean, it's not just a coalesced ball or something coalesced into like a vacuum something, it's created in a chamber. So I was wanting to say something, but I think I've already forgotten.
No,
Sorry.
when that happens, because this is so convoluted, it and contradictory, just get a piece of paper out and write it down. That's what I would suggest.
It's very clever because look, to move forwards, you've got to instantly accept the nonsensical, contradictory statement of vacuum energy, haven't you? Because that's your starting point. Yeah, how can vacuum energy? Yeah, what's it going to exist in? What do you mean? What is it? Never mind what's it going to exist in. Yeah, but he's phrasing, and Eli alluded to it earlier. It's like a cult leader. Yeah, well, what? Yeah, who's gonna save your soul? Yeah.
Okay, I do remember a lot of people that go out and they're the ether believers that like to come out and argue flat earth. They don't always resort to talking about ether, but you can tell by the things that they say, like or some of the questions they ask. And one of them was like, I think yesterday, one of the guys that I know has touted ether in the past. He was talking about how they put a scale in the vacuum chamber before they evacuate the air, and then they put the vacuum chamber on a scale. And there was some crazy stuff going on, and I was trying to get them to realize it's because gas outside, the pressure differential from the inside of the chamber to the outside, that's interacting. The gas is trying to fill the available space, and if you take too much air and make that pressure differential too extreme, then it'll collapse. It'll implode on itself. So
Ryan's gonna lose his shit right now, Flatsy.
No, I think Flatsy's talking about putting a vacuum chamber onto a weighing scales as opposed to weighing something in air and then weighing the same thing in a vacuum, within a vacuum environment. Sorry, vacuumed environment. Is that what you're talking about, Flatsy? Are you saying a weighing scales in the vacuum or a vacuum on a weighing scale?
both scales inside and underneath the
Both.
vacuum chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you remove the air from the inside of a vacuum, then you're also removing some of the buoyancy. If you remove the air from inside of a ship, that's the reason ships float, because they have air in them. So you're also removing some of the buoyancy. So I'd expect, I don't know, but I'd expect the vacuum chamber to weigh more without the air.
Yeah, I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down this road.
Oh, Adam put me on to Flatsy. It's Flatsy's fault.
Yeah,
I didn't put you on. I just said I knew you. You can't bring up scales and air pressure and you not interject. Was what I was saying.
Yes.
I couldn't lay the blame on you, so I reverted to Flatsy.
I stopped it before we head off the rails. There we go. How about the vacuum chamber? Right? Where are you getting a vacuum?
No. You Jedi mind trick fools. Vacuum energy. Let's get there.
Okay.
That's the premise. This automatic assumption that there's vacuum energy. Now, what we build it in, we put it in. What it weighs, who gives a flying cahoot? Yeah.
Yep.
What's this magical thing that nobody else has ever described in of itself is a contradiction.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for refocusing, Adam. Outstanding performance.
It's something.
Right, what's vacuum? Sorry, I'm a bit confused. What's vacuum energy?
Yeah, so like vacuum colloquially, of course, there's no such thing.
So there's no such thing. Just colloquially.
So it's the energy of no such thing.
Yep.
No such thing meaning nothing, which means it's something.
Yes. You want to hear that again? Let's hear it through. Here we go.
Yeah, so like vacuum colloquially, of course, there's no such thing. But like if you already get as much air out of a container as you can.
Nathan's all over it, right? He caught it.
Stop. So if there's no such thing, why have you combined the word of something that there isn't something of with energy? I don't follow.
Well, it's just what they call it. Yeah, so like
Who are they?
0 point energy.
That'll be Dave
would be another
Weiss and Jabba the Hutt.
0 point energy, okay.
term for it. But like, just if you have a quote unquote,
What does that mean?
Chewy?
We got another quote unquote vacuum. Go ahead, Brian.
I think that the term vacuum energy has been used in mainstream.
Yes.
I think I've read that.
Yes, I'll get my fishing pole out.
What does it do? Clean your floors?
What, my fishing pole? No, it doesn't clean floors.
No vacuum energy.
Don't see Adam's all over this vacuum energy that really doesn't exist.
Sorry, 0 point energy.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Again, that's just their terminology. Basically, if you have a vacuum chamber, which it does still have some molecules in it, right?
Okay, so you have a vacuum chamber and you still have some molecules in it. He said this before. Right?
Hello?
But he doesn't believe that molecules exist, number one. So you have a vacuum chamber and you have molecules in it. That's something. Something's in that vacuum. So what's his point? He doesn't have one. It's all over.
But you have all kinds of electromagnetic fluctuations that you can measure and detect.
Electromagnetic fluctuations? What might that be?
I've read that as well, that when they're trying to describe it, they say that in between the molecules, there's electromagnetic fluctuations. That's a mainstream. You will read that on the mainstream. That doesn't make it correct. I'm just saying that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into what electromagnetism is here in a second.
Well, again, it's a nothing burger. He's not actually describing anything. He's saying, well, I've heard that you get the...
Yeah.
I've heard that you get these, like, quantum points with quarks and points of energy appear and disappear within a micro. Lovely. It doesn't mean you have to invoke a background medium.
Exactly.
For these things that it's again, it's a false. Well, correct me on the whatever the fallacy is using. It's a false equivalence. Just because you have points of energy, which I think Brian's point addresses this, as he wants to hold him to on it, is just because you have these points of energy within a vacuum chamber, which in of itself isn't devoid of energy, means you have to have a medium. So if you get it,
it's yes.
Very tricksy. Very tricksy.
Adam, elongate this point. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Well, the point, I thought Brian was going to jump in, to be fair, is the point he seems to be invoking here as proof of an ether is that within a vacuum chamber, even though he's giving his little bit of mitigation that there might be one or two molecules, which won't be the points he's going to detect, that there's points of energy, electromagnetic, so he's not very specific. There's points of energy that he's picking up, and that in of itself means there has to be something in the nothing.
Yeah.
Go on, Brian.
He's hiding and affirming the consequent fallacy with the non-experiment, which, I mean, but that's been pointed out. Sorry for the bad mic. It's been pointed out a million times. That's it.
Your mic's good.
Adam. Yeah, mic's not too bad there now, Eli. Adam, I know what you're referring to. Basically what they call radiation energy, which is all of the light spectrum. Elements of that can be found within. They basically state that you can't remove all the matter, and even if you could, hypothetically, you can't remove all the energy that's in there. So when they say there's electromagnetic fluctuations, there may be magnetism in there, there may be electricity in there, right? But there is also the light spectrum, elements of the light spectrum are going to be in there. So this is, the point being is it's all known about. This is not something new. They've been admitting for a long time that these things exist between the molecules. If you know what I mean. This is not, so, but, which it's trying to invoke that there's a medium, which would be a material medium, in between the molecules, which is contradictory because energy can't be a medium. You know what I mean? And there's no evidence that energy would even require any kind of a medium.
Where'd they get the vacuum from?
So, well, you have to create that.
That's no go. That's a no go because you still have something in there. So this is all academic, contradictory nonsense. You're headed down. You're headed down 2 or 3 stream effects from the first offense. Where's the vacuum? If you follow what I'm saying.
And he's definitely dealt with this point, like all of the questions that we're raising or the things that we're pointing to. Remember Lemon Bird? Well, me and Chocolate got into a row with Lemon Bird, and which was kind of alongside him at the time. I mean, you know, everyone was still friends, but I mean, Lemon Bird kept talking about the sky as if it were actually a vacuum. And my response to that would be, well, but is the sky actually a vacuum, though? Because the bottom line is, you get what I'm saying.
Yes. There we go.
Within that. And so it's like, what's the energy traveling through?
So what's the energy? You guys heard this before. What's the energy traveling through in a vacuum? I guess that's another question.
If there's nothing.
And traveling, and remember what happened to the traveling part. So his whole point right now is what's the energy traveling through? But then you heard him deny that he's ever stated that that was his position. So there's another contradiction. There's so many in here, it's unbelievable.
There, I think that claiming nothing's there is.
So sorry, I'm confused. So with a parlor trick with a vacuum, you've said you can still get stuff to travel through it. That's really interesting. How does that directly relate to anything to do with an all-encompassing ether surrounding all of us always?
Well, that would just be the background that can, because like what else is there, right? So it's like I said, you can just avoid
what do you mean
the question
background?
or address it.
What do you mean?
He's still saying you can answer the question or you can avoid it. What's the question?
Back behind what ground?
The background to the material perceivable world.
Huh? Okay.
If I may, when I went to his channel and spoke to him, he's admitted to me, now he's changed his position since then, but he admitted to me that the ether was a fourth dimensional thing, that was a belief he had. There was more spiritual as opposed to in the 3D was the gist.
Yeah, we're not chasing that. We're only chasing.
No, I'm not asking you to chase anything. I never say for anyone to chase anything. I'm just stating that what he's saying down there was go on, Adam.
Now that's important because as QE started out with, okay, a medium is something physical. It exists in these 3 dimensions. For us to create a wave in the water, it has to be the physical water for the perturbation to happen in. Okay. What he's doing is he's trying to say that there's something in the nothing. Well, in the nothing describes there is nothing in the 3-dimensional physical world. So the only place he could and is, as Brian alludes to, is invoking it, is in with some 4th metaphysical dimension, whether that be a spiritual realm or just one of many, like one of the 11 in string theory. He's just making shit up, right, to put his excuses in. It's like dark energy, dark matter. This shit doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, but if I invent a magic box over here, I can put all my problems in it and say, that fixes it. And that's what he's doing here.
No, that's what he was doing with Brian. I don't want to get into what he was doing with Brian. I want to deal with what's I want to deal with what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, but ultimately, though, that's the only place he can go if he's going to keep doing what he does, which is flim-frowned around it not being physical yet physical.
I understand that. Let's continue.
Material, perceivable world. But ether takes place in counter space. Ether's counter space. It's coming from counter space.
So he said ether's beyond material. Everyone catch that?
Counter space. Yeah.
Well, Nathan was saying counter space. He never said that. I'm only going by what he says. It's ether is immaterial. Mark that down.
0 point source energy, right? Non-manifest, right?
Yeah, it's not materially manifested. Yeah.
Not.
There you go. So not materially manifest, which is
it is there. So that's the important, right? Not materially manifest.
It's redundant. It's painfully redundant. Number one.
No, but not in their world.
Or contradictory. Materially manifest. It's not materially manifest. That's a
Yeah.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah, unless you invoke an ether for this thing to be manifesting, waiting based on its vibrational sense time to manifest. Yeah, but this is what's being invoked here. This is what's holding its argument together. AI's unmuted a couple of times. Do you want to get in?
I was just going to say I'll give anyone a cookie if they can tell me what counter space is.
I'll give anyone a cookie. Is that a pun? Yes.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's there's a pun in there, and then there's an inside joke. There's two.
Yeah, maybe.
Here we go.
Manifest.
Materially, yeah.
Sorry, materially non-manifest.
Pause.
Materially non-manifest.
No, not manifest. Materially, no. See, he doesn't even know how he's going to make this shit up next. He has to do that because it's such a contradiction. Yeah, it's there, but it's not there yet, right? But it is there. It's just not manifest yet into the physical form, but it is there in its etheric form, waiting to manifest once it receives enough perturbation.
No, it's still not there. So he's talking about a non-manifest, a non-materially manifest thingy, Efers. Guess what that is, folks?
Medium.
Guess what that is? If it's not materially manifest, guess what that is in this reality?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Energy?
Nothing. That's what it is. Nothing. This is twisted. You got to keep up with it, folks.
What does manifestation mean?
That brings it back to what I said. That brings it back to what I said earlier about what he said to me.
Yeah, that's fine. But he's not saying that here.
Materially non-manifest. What does manifestation mean, Whitsit?
I'd say that the way that we use it is to become perceivable in the material world.
Shit, so if you pause again, right? So it's not what he's about to say; it's how he's prefaced it. Just give it a J and listen to the preface.
Station mean, Whitsit?
I'd say that the way that we use it is to become perceivable in the material
no
world.
Point now, QA. Is he holden to his own words?
Yep.
I would say the way that we use it is.
Yep. You got it. Yes.
You're not perceivable in the material world. That would be non-manifest. Is that somehow perceivable in a material way or not?
It sounds like a...
Owen, shut up.
No.
So is that a no?
It is not perceivable in the material world.
So
no.
not
It's like, I have
perceivable.
Never seen a container either.
Sorry.
He's going back to container, back to the false equivalence fallacy again.
I have to make the point. The reason I brought up what he said to me in that discussion was because just before that he had said something that was implying it. He's been implying it all along. Now, I know you don't like it, but that is what's happening here.
No, he never said it, so I'm not dealing with it. He never said it, so I'm not dealing with it here. Got it?
I'm not saying to deal with it. I'm just looking for someone to recognize that that's where that's what he's being implying.
Well, that's fine, but he never said it here. That's all I can deal with is here.
So this idea that you're okay with other people peddling in this arena that call themselves flat earthers, that is non-manifest in the material world. So it doesn't exist then, ether, then?
Yes, it's a nothing. You should have said, so it's nothing.
Just not real. Doesn't exist. Non-manifest in the material world.
Well, yeah, so then you have to claim that nothing exists.
Yeah. No, you're claiming that nothing exists. You're non-materially manifest. Medium. You're claiming it. It's another contradiction. Unbelievable. Hope you guys caught that.
So, no, I'm not claiming nothing doesn't exist. No, that's not what I said. What I said was ether doesn't exist because it's claimed by you to be non-manifest in the material world. That's another way of saying it doesn't exist.
It's another way of saying nothing.
Telling me it's non-manifest in the physical world. That means it isn't real, Witsit.
Okay, yeah, but so what does the electron...
So why are you asking me something? Why, Witsit? This isn't the time for you to ask me something. It's the time for me to say, why are you peddling this stupid shit where you tell people something's non-manifest in the physical reality that we exist in, when we are here talking about physical reality and stuff that we can show and prove, and you're out peddling stuff that's non-manifest in the physical world. So you're just a fucking voodoo peddler. You're peddling nonsense, mate.
This is my point, though. Like, you can avoid the question.
You can avoid there. We're back to the question again. What's the question?
Right, colourful as it was, and it's worthy of a J. If you actually understand the meaning behind his colourful language, it's exactly spot on. It's like what Eli alluded to. You're a cult leader. You're just peddling hoodoo. Yeah. Yeah, this thing exists, and the proof of it is that if I evacuate a vacuum chamber, there's nothing there. But because it's asinine to think that there can be nothing, even though that's contradicted to the words nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ether, which is a nothing. That's what he's saying. Yeah, it's preposterous, ludicrousness, absurdity. Yep.
Well, what's happening is he's accusing other people of avoiding a question that he has.
Yeah.
The question he has is, what's between those molecules?
No, that's not what he's saying, Brian. Do not go there.
He was almost there. The thing that Witsit's doing is the same thing that Bullers do. Take the weakness of their argument and turn it into a strength with a question.
This is a nonsense. There is no question here.
Right, because once he has the non-vacuum that he can keep talking about, or this vacuum, the only question is, well, is something in there? Is nothing in there?
He already said
that's what he's saying. We're not answering.
He already said that there's something in there. He said there's atoms, molecules, or whatever in there. So there's something in there.
Sorry, what question?
What does the electromagnetic wave propagate within?
Now we got it. What does the electromagnetic wave propagate within? There it is. That's the next question. There's a couple other ones that are nonsensical. There is no electromagnetic waves in your non-vacuum. How about that? Good. Let me write that down. Next question. What does electromagnetic wave... Oh, boy.
Has he ever admitted that light was not electric or magnetic?
No. You're going to catch him here in a second, too.
I have a good reason for asking that. Go on.
I don't think so. I've never heard. That doesn't mean he's... I don't know. Who the hell knows?
What's an electromagnetic wave?
That's the question. That Brian, if I'm not mistaken, Brian catches him in the video.
They're not. Yeah, okay then.
What electromagnetic wave?
This is hilarious.
What? Yeah, what's it propagate within?
What electromagnetic wave would that be?
All of them.
All of them? That doesn't answer. That doesn't answer the question, son. So all of them, no. Now you need to redirect. What is an electromagnetic wave, Nathan?
Why are you asking this question?
No, he didn't catch up, so you're busted here, Nathan. Why didn't you stay on that? He didn't answer your question. He Jedi mind tricked you. You should have stayed on it.
Because that's my point. It has to propagate within something.
Does it?
That's why I asked the question. And then they stay on it. Can we stay on it?
Yep.
So what electromagnetic waves? They're forms of light, different energy forms. Yeah, so some of them lower, some of them higher, but they're all forms of light.
No, they're not.
Most of
No, they're not.
Go on then. And
how can a photon be electromagnetic when it's neither electric nor magnetic, and it's not a wave?
That's not what I said. If you look it up in the mainstream and look at what an electromagnetic wave is, it is only described as radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma, right? All of which are variations of light, which we know isn't a wave. We've discussed this earlier.
Right.
So why are we invoking a term electromagnetic wave when it's just a colloquial, to use its terminology, way of describing a quanta of energy?
Yeah, it's a nonsense. It's a nothing in a nothing.
That was the point. That's why Nathan had him.
Yep.
Because if he'd have pursued it like that, you see there, a nice use of being Witsit, yeah, to make the point, yeah, then Witsit's lost. Because he's invoking something that describes a quantum of energy, but he wants it to mean a wave so that he can have a medium for the wave to existing.
Yes.
Even though, yeah.
In this particular case, it's an equivocation fallacy with the term wave.
Can I add a little bit of clarity after Adam?
I thought I just cleared everything up. That's what it is.
You jump on my victory hard, Brian. Go. Brian, go.
Think about what I just said. He's equivocating fallacy with the term wave. Simple.
I'm only focusing on what Adam said about the mainstream. What the mainstreams, because I know I've read this only recently again, they claim that the sun, right, heats the earth, right, radiatively via electromagnetic waves. Now that probably comes back to their misunderstanding or their pre-assumption of a heliocentric paradigm.
Yep.
What they pre-assume the sun to be, etc. But it's wrong.
Yep.
Radiation is not, if it's light, it's not electric, it's not magnetic, and it's not a wave.
Yep.
I like that, Brian. I like that. They're not sun waves. Nobody's ever called them sun waves.
No.
Sun rays. Yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
It's something.
Says who? Who says that it has to? Didn't you just tell me a moment ago that you put it through a vacuum and it still went through it? So you're contradicting your own statement in that regard. It's got to have a medium, but when we remove all things from a medium, it still travels through. Therefore, we're going to label nothing ether.
Yes, exactly. His something is a nothing ether in the medium. Yes, right. You got it.
Yes, but no. So as the emissary, I'd just like to say thank you, Nathan, for describing our underpinning belief perfectly.
Yep.
Can we have a J on that?
Yep.
Because whilst it is contradictory to us, this is actually what Witsit's pimping. Because there's nothing, there has to be something that will be otherwise be asinine for something that I think a wave to pertivate through, even though I know it's not. It's a discrete chunk of energy.
Yes, and it's the medium is a nothing. So there can't be nothing, but what he's offering is a nothing for the something. If you can, if you realize it.
But it's a bit of a. Sorry, Flatsy, do you want to go ahead? All right.
I was just laughing. I said that's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Go ahead, Brian.
Just on Adam's point, what happens is that he'll hit you with a straw man and say, "Are you saying that nothing can exist, right? And then the person will try to defend that, and then he's saying, so you admit there has to be something there. It's an agreement ladder situation that starts with like a straw man. You didn't say that nothing does or doesn't exist. You didn't make any claims about it. He's making the claims about that situation, not you. But before you know it, you're into an agreement ladder that becomes confirmation bias for what he's trying to claim.
So you agree that there's got to be something in there. Yeah, he already stated there was something in there. Because you can't have nothing, but what's in there is a nothing, according to him, ether. It's a train wreck of a dumpster fire of epic proportions.
So you're contradicting your own statement in that regard.
Yes, he is.
It's got to have a medium, but when we remove all things from a medium, it still travels through. Therefore, we're going to label nothing ether.
Exactly, he's got it. He did a good job there, no doubt about it. Not too many people could do that on the fly. He got it, though. So kudos.
That's what you're telling me. You simultaneously tell me that we can't have nothing. We can't have
that's
nothing.
That's why I was trying to address the difference. There's a
Here's some white knights for you, Adam.
significant difference between.
Look at the graphic on screen. This is when you know these guys have lost. Yeah, take it on the tin-chin. I remember doing that graphic for Nathan. Yeah, this is when they stutter and wamble and do tin-chin from the rumpus. Well, this is what Witzit's doing. Listen to it. He's having to take it on the tin-chin.
Yep.
Perfectly timed.
Yep. Now listen to this. When you climb up the mountain and listen to the oracle, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why I was trying to address the difference. There's a significant difference between nothing and no thing. There's
Is there
a significant difference?
What?
Yes.
You know what that difference is, don't you, Brian?
Nothing.
Ether. Oh, it's ether.
Which is a nothing.
Which in of itself is nothing. So the difference between nothing and nothing is nothing.
I don't want to hear anything from you, Adam. You didn't know that cannot was one word.
It's not a fucking word. Excuse my French. It's not a word. We were told specifically never use it.
What? But the fact that you could, have hours and hours for a year plus straight of streams, telling everyone who would listen that this panel is lying when this is what you're doing. Because I kind of go away from thinking about Whitson and I go on thinking about the other people that ate this up. I don't know how Hank Hill ate this up. I don't know how he did it.
I'll tell you, bro. Me and Bree were working on this the other day. So if you have a jar full of cookies, if you have a jar full of cookies, there's something in the jar. That something is an entity known as a cookie. A cookie is a concretely real entity that has ontological status in the real world. Now, if you empty the jar and you have no cookies in the jar, right? So in other words, nothing in the jar. What you're describing is a state of affairs of the lack of cookies. You're not describing a claim that nothing is an entity in itself within the jar. So in order to make this argument, you have to conflate a state of affairs with an ontological status of existence. And those two are separate categories. So to even begin to make this argument, you must commit a fallacy.
Yep. You could take that route too. Mine's much more simple. But yes, you could do that if you wanted to. Yes, that would still work.
You take the cookies out the jar, and what you got to realize is that there's still a field, an etheric mechanism that resides with enough cookie energy for the potential for a cookie to manifest.
Between the crumbs.
You might see little bits, maybe the odd chocolate chip manifest here and there.
You missed what Brian said. He said between the crumbs.
Exactly. A crumb. Maybe a little bit of peanut, Brian. because that's what this Muppet's talking about. I'm sure we detected a little bit of chocolate chip just then.
All right, let's get back on. Let's get back on track. All right, we can go off the reservation with this, ladies and gentlemen. I am acutely aware of that. So it's my job to keep us on task.
Yeah, you just decry cookie energy.
Yes, I do.
Two completely different concepts.
Okay. So, yeah, magnetism, right?
Hold on,
it's a
Arwin,
field.
Arwin,
It's not a wave.
Arwin.
It's a field.
Thank you. Sorry, you're about to launch into telling me there's a difference between nothing and no thing. So, I've got a thing, it's an apple. Now I've got no thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is irony. Guess what I have in my hand right now?
An apple.
An orange.
Apple.
An orange.
Nope. I'm gnawing on an apple, so I just wanted to stop and just let you know. So the irony, it just continues with this whole thing. So
I want to let you know that Booger just finished a whole apple.
A red delicious?
Hold on. I don't know.
Oh, brother.
What's she going to go and do? Make him sick it up to see what apple it was?
Apple.
Where's
So
she going?
Michigan grown Gala.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's American apple, Brian. It's American apple.
It's an F-150 apple. Is she going to make him throw it up? Is that what you said, Adam? You twisted individual, you. All right. Let me pull a fiver. We'll go back. Here we go. Sorry for that. I should have never have done that.
So, I've got a thing, it's an apple. Now I've got no thing in my hand. That's different to me having nothing in my hand, is it, Whitsit? Carry on peddling your fucking stupid voodoo shit about non...
Fair. Whitsit didn't say that, Nathan, but you probably didn't recognize that. That was die slow, moron.
Manifest counter space point energy that's not manifest in our physical world by telling me how nothing is different to no thing. Go ahead.
I never made that claim. I think that's not a good way to say it.
2 minutes ago, you said there's a difference between no thing and nothing.
No, he didn't. That was die slow.
That was die slow.
Yeah.
So off you go, so that you can make me believe in non-manifest energy from a point...
What's that?
That's his only saving grace, that the contradiction, and it is correct, that of shit that Nathan's putting out isn't sadly attributable to Wits at this point. It's only attributable to his white knight.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
There's no win here, Heath writes. There's no win here. It's just your white knight getting destroyed and Nathan attributing bullshit to the wrong idiot.
Can I just point out that Nathan has this treated room and all this special audio stuff so he can hear someone even smirking. Yet he's constantly replying to somebody. He's always doing it on the politics server. Replying to somebody who didn't say anything. Or attributing this to something that's said to somebody else. He's always doing that wrong. He's not listening to who's saying anything. So it doesn't matter to him who's saying it. He's just, as far as he's concerned, it's with it.
It's on behalf of Witsit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're missing his point, though. Do we want to bash Nathan a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was defending him there. That wasn't.
No, he's not here. Why not? This is the best time.
Now, I wasn't doing it, but are you inviting me and Brian into a Nathan bashing?
No, I'm not. That was rhetorical, by the way. We're continuing.
Source in counter space that's not manifest in physical reality. Tell me how nothing's different to nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's Dieslow's claim. I wouldn't say it like that.
Wait, I'm asking you why you're peddling this stupid shit.
My point is pretty simple. Right. So it's simple, right? So Michelson Morley, for example, we had lights go different directions, and
this is an important part. Can you? No, you can't.
Right. So Michelson Morley, for example, we had lights go different.
Oh man.
Jerks. Do it again.
Right. So it's simple, right? So
Michelson Morley, I'm going to have to amen it.
No,
in the Church of Ether. Yeah,
well, at least he didn't say Michelson-Morley experiment. He learned then. Now what they do is they call it the MMX.
But the point is they're just venerated, aren't they? It's still a veneration. It still is. Whether you can not take the ass whooping anymore if you misspeak and say experiment after the non-experiment, they're still doing the same thing with it, holding it up as evidence.
Yeah. So let's see what evidence, Michael. Everyone's heard this before. I have it taped.
Morley, for example, we had lights go different directions, and one of the
couldn't care
lights
less. This is a
took
parlor
little bit
trick.
longer than
Stop.
the other light.
I got a question. How can lights go in different directions and not be traveling? That's the question.
Stop. Do you give a crap about this parlor trick?
Okay, well, that's why relativity was created.
Sorry, are you telling me you're going around peddling this crap to this community based on a fucking parlor trick?
No, just based on antecedent relationship. Like,
Sorry,
it's just
what was the phenomena studied in this highly scientific parlor trick?
Somebody had to say something there. What? Say again? No? Good.
What was the phenomena studied?
The difference in travel of light.
Oh, everyone's heard this before. So his shining poster child proof for his Efers in the MMX, Michelson-Morley non-experiment, is the difference in the travel of light. And he's come out here and said he's never made that argument. He's done. Another contradiction. And a lie.
So where do we observe in natural world this difference occurring for me to ask why it's happening?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you have to like put it on a small manageable
I'm asking you
scale
for the
so wouldn't
naturally
necessarily-
occurring phenomena, Witsit. Where does this occur naturally for it to be called a natural phenomena for you to science it? This parlor trick that doesn't have a natural phenomena for you to stumble across and tell me that you wonder why it's happening. What's happened in nature for you to study, Witsit?
You would have to actually look at the propagation of like.
You
the sunlight
tell
if
me
you wanted
what
it
the
naturally.
DV in this... If it's not a parlor trick, it's science. And it's going to be studying a dependent variable. That's a phenomena occurring in nature. What is it?
I actually wouldn't call this a scientific experiment, right?
So it's a
I'm not
fucking
saying-
parlor
I'm just saying-
trick! You stupid boy!
Pause.
Okay, well.
All right, pause. I know Nathan's going to shout, but this is point number 2. I wouldn't call it an experiment. Then why are you raising it, Ben? Why did you raise it? If asked whether it's an experiment, you say, "Oh, I won't call it that." Yeah. Well, here's a sandwich. Is that an experiment? No. I wouldn't call it that. I'd call it a sandwich. Well, why have you brought a sandwich? Well, I don't know. Yeah. What are you doing, man? This is what we talk about standards, and it's double speak. It's You were trying to mug people off there. That the Michelson-Morley had some form of validity to prove that there was this nothing, something medium.
Yep. That's what he's doing.
The point being, right, once you see, the point is, that's not how we're supposed to behave. That's disingenuous. And you see that, yeah? You've got an ulterior motive. However you're engaging with the person, you're not sharing the best of your truth to come to some kind of, understanding. You're trying to deceive somebody. You've just tried to pass something off as evidence. And then when challenged on it, the validity of its evidence, you've just said, "Oh, there's no evidence in that." That's deceitful, young man.
Yep. He caught.
Look at the two different.
Go ahead.
Look at the two different schools. You have us, and I mean, I'm telling you, I don't really hear anyone who listens to FED, and I mean, maybe there are people, but it's not like the main thing where people are like, "Oh yeah, well, listen to QE, he'll hand you your asshole. Listen to Nathan, he'll hand it to you." But every time I go into any corner of anywhere, and I'm having a discussion with one of these guys, they just refer me back to their cult leader because I'm gonna run with that now. And they say, well, you know what? You have to ask Whitsitt. You know what? Whitsitt is better on this than I am. Oh, when we're debating, we're just debating. We're present, we're right there, and we're willing to put our webos on the line to be like, I stand behind this because I looked into it and I know that this is a fact.
Yep.
Nobody who comes in here for Whitsitt says anything but listen to what Whitsitt says.
Yep, you got it. You know why? Because they can't repeat the disconnected, convoluted, delusional it's gibberish, all of it. That's why they can't do it.
Exactly.
If I might be able to chime in for just a second, I think it's very important that when facing Whitsitt or other etherites about this, is to point out the category error that they're making the moment they invoke the question, can nothing exist, or insinuating that nothing cannot exist, because making them, forcing them to tell you what their version of nothing is before you answer that question will remove the straw man that they immediately follow up with.
That's a good point.
It's exactly the why his instant rebuttal is that's asinine. Okay, it's to imply to you what you mean nothing can't mean that there has to be something there. Are you stupid? That's kind of what he says in rebuttal when he uses the phrase that's asinine. That nothing can't mean that there's no thing there. That'd be asinine, wouldn't it? Intimidation, bullying tactics instead of having evidence, proof.
Yep.
The thing he half-assed invoke with Mickelson-Morley to bring us back on track.
Yep.
Well,
not okay.
Says a little bit
not okay.
Okay.
Stop.
If you call me
Stop.
Yeah.
He's if you can hear in the background, he's more concerned with Nathan calling him stupid than the proof of his statement. You hear that? 5 seconds. I'll pull a fiver. Listen.
Not okay.
Says a little bit
not okay.
Okay.
Stop.
If you call me
If you call me stupid. Yeah, you are. You're stupid. And way to focus on that. Yep, you're an idiot. That's been proven over and over and over here today. Yes.
Anyone, right, Huey, who comes out into a public forum and says, "This is my IQ," is genuinely, by their own demonstration, they're stupid.
Yep. Yep. That's due 7 offsuit. When I hear that, you're done for. You're done for. Go ahead, lead out with that. It's over. Thanks, by the way.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so stupid. Whitsitt. Focus now. A second grade retard would laugh in your face. That's how stupid this is. How many contradictions have we already went over? You've lied. You've lied about the lie. And you've contradicted yourself so much with this idiotic claim. It's a belly laugher. You're a moron. Sorry. There's the evidence. The evidence is right here. Delusional Dunning-Kruger dipshit.
No, the response I was looking for was not okay. I'm asking, and I'll ask again, why you are peddling this horse shit based on a parlor trick to our community, Whitsitt?
Because I'm not stupid enough to claim nothing exists.
Yeah, you are. You're stupid.
Pause. Listen to that. Ladies and gentlemen, Whitsitt, why are you peddling this horse shit to people? Answer. Because I'm not stupid enough to believe that nothing means nothing. Third point of I rest my case, Your Honour, this evening. Yep. Yeah, if that genuinely, that's your rebuttal. You've got proof. Put it into the context of you arguing flat earthers with a baller, and the best the baller came back with, or the best you could come up with, is that right? It's time to give up your argument, isn't it? This guy won't, obviously.
Nope, he's pot committed.
Strike 3, but carry on.
Yeah.
Hold on, I do want to say something.
Good.
Because he said that he was not stupid enough to think that nothing can exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the stupid answers that he came up with to his stupid question is he's not stupid enough to think about that, right?
Yep. Can I reply?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I'm going to reply in character as if he just said this to me.
Uh-oh.
I'm not stupid enough to confuse the state of affairs with the ontological status of being.
Yeah. Yep. You could go that route too. It's there's so many different ways you can go about this. That it's really are these jokes? That's at the point where I'm at here. This is a train wreck of a dumpster fire of disconnected, convoluted drivel from an idiot. It's almost embarrassing. Wouldn't you say?
It's supposed to be a justification, but let's have a Jane.
At this stage, it is embarrassing because it's become more and more prevalent what was happening over the past couple of years with him. And so, as I said, I do at this stage do think it's actually out of pride he's trying to hang on to the ignorance.
Yeah, that's another scary part. That's beyond my scope. I'll give you a J, Adam. Not too many more though.
And I'll ask again, why you are peddling this horse shit based on a parlor trick to our community, Witsit?
Because I'm not stupid enough to claim nothing exists.
There you go, Adam.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 strikes. Seriously, that's why. Not because ether's real, because flat earth elevation angles, because you can't have gas pressure, because I'm not stupid enough to claim that nothing exists. That's why when we see nothing and we evacuate a chamber to make sure there's nothing in there, I'm not stupid enough to think there's nothing in there after I've made sure there's nothing in there.
Oh boy. Let's continue. Please. We'll be here all day. It's a belly laugher. We all know it. No one has to explain what's going on here. If you can fog a mirror, you just sitting back shaking your head right now. That's it. It's over.
Sorry, did I claim that?
You are claiming that. Yes.
Oh, am I? When did I say it? Put it in quotes right now.
You just
listen to this.
Said that nothing. It's recorded, right? This is
Put it in quotes.
You said when I was talking,
quotes, Dumbo.
Yeah, you said
put it in quotes.
Nothing. You said now I'm saying nothing is ether. That's what you said. You said I was saying that.
What?
He is saying that. That's his whole fucking point.
I'm gonna pull a J on this.
His whole point is if you evacuate a vacuum chamber and take everything out so there's nothing in there, you can't have nothing because nothing is ether. That's his actual point.
I know. Here we go. Yeah, but listen to how he explains it. How he explains that Nathan made a claim. Here we go. Listen closely.
Put it in quotes.
You better get your abacus out.
When I was talking,
quotes, Dumbo.
Yeah, you said
put it in quotes.
Nothing. You said now I'm saying nothing is ether. That's what you said. You said I was saying that.
So.
You said that I was saying that. That's a quote of something that I said. That's a claim that I made. Oh my God.
This is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good that you're going back over the footage of where you've pulled those little snippets of him out so people can show.
Yes.
You're showing them that you're not taking it out of context.
No, it could be in a it could be in a beluga whale context and still be guilty.
I can't believe that's
stupefying, man.
That the ether is nothing, or that nothing is the ether. Is that really where Witsit's trying to take that?
I don't.
The straw man that crap.
Well, he's not. He didn't put in quotes what Nathan claimed. He put. Oh my God. I'm not even going to deal with it. It's too stupid.
It is that stupid. It's whoa.
We'll do it again, and I'll fly right by. I'm not going to stop it again. We'll fly right by it.
Quotes.
You said when I was talking,
quotes, Dumbo.
Yeah, you said
Put it in quotes.
Nothing. You said now I'm saying nothing is ether. That's what you said. You said I was saying that.
So
I'm sorry, I stopped. I couldn't help myself. Please forgive me.
I said you were saying something is a quote of something I have said explicitly. Doesn't seem to be a very good quote to me, Witsit.
There we go.
No, I didn't say what you are claiming I have said. I said ether's stupid. It's based on counter space that isn't real. Point source energy from a non-manifest reality. And when I ask you why you're basing this shit to give it to the community, you tell me it's based on a parlor trick. That's what you're telling me.
No, I said if we have propagation, either the propagation is propagating through something or nothing.
All right, let's take a look at that. You guys. This is what he just said.
No.
I'm sorry, Adam. I have it. What he said up on screen. This is a false dichotomy fallacy. He said the propagation is propagating through something, or the propagation is propagating through nothing. Grammatically, it's a train wreck. It's retarded. So it's a false dichotomy. That's just what it is. Any comment? I have it up on screen on YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh yeah. Come on, Adam. You go first.
I'm going to look the word up, right? And because you mentioned it earlier, and it feels like an abuse of the word propagation.
You think?
Yeah. But go on, Bri.
It's back to the agreement ladder again. Are you claiming that light can propagate through nothing? And then you say, no, right? Because you're trying to defend something that you didn't say. And then he goes, so you admit that it needs something to propagate through. Do you know what I mean? It's another agreement ladder situation.
Yep. Man, it's a false dichotomy. And then he makes a critical error. Get ready.
Oh, before you go.
Not that was a critical error, but there's another critical error, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, like I said, it feels like an abuse of the word propagation.
Yeah.
Because using that in a phrase that it has to mean that there's a medium, yeah, that i.e. it's a wave. It's a ripple. The propagation is within the medium. And I said earlier about throwing seeds. But when I look at it, propagation refers to the spreading or transmission of something. And that's my understanding, because you can propagate also, a concept or a signal.
Yes.
So the point being, you see, it's a false equivalent. It's using big words, propagate, which you may or may not be confident enough to challenge. What do you mean by propagate? Because the use of the word is to invocate and substantiate a medium now. Well, I can throw seeds onto the ground, whether those seeds travel through a vacuum or the medium of air, they'll still be propagated, won't they?
Yes. Check the next critical error.
Oh, really? Maybe this is me talking about the false equivalence of whether or not propagation's going through ether or nothing. This is my false equivalence. This is my false dichotomy, isn't it, Witsit?
Well, you're just not answering the question.
I'm just not answering your false dichotomy with your postulation about nothing. It's actually a quote I've said, isn't it, Witsit? This is one of my quotes in your false dichotomy you are putting on the table. It's my quote, your false dichotomy, isn't it, Witsit?
It's not a false dichotomy unless you...
Oh, it's not a false dichotomy to say either ether or nothing exists. That's not a false dichotomy. Can't have nothing of nothing, but ether's the equivalent. That's not a false dichotomy. Yeah,
yes,
fucking is.
Something or nothing.
Yeah, fucking is, Witsit. That's a false dichotomy.
Then what's the third option?
There it is. There's the next critical error. So for him to show a false dichotomy, for Nathan to show a false dichotomy, he would have to give a third choice. No, sunshine.
That's right. You just discredit one or both of the given options.
Exactly. You can either provide a third viable option, or destroy one or both of your grammatically train wreck retarded statements. He doesn't know what.
Dichotomy would be two.
Say again? Say again?
Yeah, he didn't know that. Because obviously, you know, I caught him up on false dichotomy at some point in some conversation, can't remember when. And he tried to say that to me. So again, when he comes to Nathan and he does this again, he already knows better.
There's a fourth option.
Thanks, AI.
Well, let AI and then Brian. All right, Brian, just give us that AI and then Brian, yeah?
A dichotomy that's a true dichotomy in any sense has to be in the same category. Something and nothing when in this context. One is a ontological status of the state of being. The other is a state of affairs. So they can't be a dichotomy categorically. So you don't even need to answer it by giving a third choice. It's not even a coherent statement in the first instance.
That's what I said. That was my point.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, correct.
Well, maybe AI said it right when he said dichotomy.
Is that what he said? Did he say dichotomy?
That's good.
That is what Whitson is
didn't
doing.
even do that
Dichotomy.
That was
Dichotomy.
That was a good catch because I didn't hear AI say that. It just didn't come through. Yeah, nice one. Good one. The +1 for you. Okay, let's move on.
Sorry, I don't have to offer a third dichotomy. This is your claim, you stupid idiot. That's called a burden of proof reversal fallacy, Witsit. Meanwhile, you're yet to answer my question. Why are you peddling this unbelievable horse shit to our community based on a parlor trick?
Again, so if you're saying it's a false dichotomy, that means you have to offer a third viable option.
There he goes again. You just train wrecked yourself again, son.
Either there's nothing there, there's some...
Do I? So I'm claiming something about perturbation of ether, so I need to offer up a third nonsense claim to make it a false trichotomy, do I?
Well, if you say
you think a third option makes it valid, do you, Dumbo? You've never heard of a false trichotomy?
And it's a false...
Yeah, you stupid...
Did somebody say... Stop. Go ahead.
We both unmuted at the same time laughing here. Nathan's got him by the balls. This is how disingenuous this guy is. And even when his duplicitous, lying shithousery is presented to him, he's still not going to admit it. He's just going to keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. Nathan's just done him there. And if you've got any intellectual honesty whatsoever, when you have just lost, yeah, it's like an arm wrestle. When you lost, you don't go, yeah, I won. Or carry on pretending you're still in the fight still. And this is what's happening. It's just shocking.
Is he whistling past the graveyard?
He's just ignoring that these battles going off and he keeps losing them.
Yeah.
And just carry on as if, instant respawn.
Instant. That's what I said. It's whistling past the graveyard, Adam.
Yeah, that's like somebody who was born in the 60s sort of phrase.
Go ahead, Brian. Somebody wanted to come in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just on the back of what Adam said there, that what happens is that when his back is to the wall or he's stuck in the corner, he turns it from a debate into an argument. If you understand what I mean, it becomes more personal and more snide or smart aleck comments, this kind of stuff, and it's moved away from the actual topic.
Yep.
And then he comes back in with the topic.
Yep. I've noticed that too. Yes. There we go.
Stupid boy, I'm not going to offer you a third option to overcome your stupid use of fallacy. No, that won't be happening, Witsit. What I will do is stay here indefinitely till you tell me why you're peddling this to my beloved community that you're poisoning with this shit about non-existent things that don't manifest in reality, aren't observable in physical reality, but you seem to think they're an answer to a false dichotomy nobody's asking about except you.
So what sustains the propagation then?
Where we go back again? What's sustaining that propagation?
See? See? That is urinating, isn't it?
Yes.
Over the posterior of someone.
Yep.
It's just, I tell you what gets me here, right, is whenever I'm at least honest, I have some integrity, yeah? And if you've lost, you've lost. But you've got, and this is where I do pay him a bit of respect, to just continue with no shame or any representation of personal standards or integrity, and to just carry on in the same voice takes training, effort, practice. Yeah, you would. Oh.
To totally respawn. He's totally respawning every time he gets destroyed. He's doing the same thing that Globers do. When they just reset, respawn.
It's not just a signature trait of Globers. It's a signature trait of a numpty dipshit caught in numerous contradictions that won't give up the ghost.
I'd like to say two things. First of all, what propagation?
Yep.
He hasn't shown this propagation.
Exactly.
Number one. And number two is why he's able to hand wave away so much doublespeaks and so many times he's caught is because he believes that there is something there that he will discover or someone will discover and that will validate him.
There is something there. The ether, the nothing.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that he does believe that something will be found either by him or someone else that will then validate what he said. So all that doublespeak will be hand waved away.
So he's going to find something which is ether, which is a nothing. That's what I just said.
No, he's going to find radiation energy.
Oh God.
Which is not ether.
Yeah.
But the point being is that that's what I think goes on with.
You forgot a step though. It's actually water. It's actually water.
Is it?
You remember? Yeah, if you remember from like 45 minutes ago, I could have sworn I heard everything's water. God is water. Water's everywhere, omnipresent. So if ether exists, then it's water. I rest my case.
Oh God.
Well, so propagation of what?
Electromagnetic waves.
There it is again.
Yeah, boom.
Yep.
Boom. Yeah. Nathan had him earlier, and that's why, he can't do that again if you hold it. If you held it, what the shit are you on about with it? Please elucidate, enlighten us all. Yeah.
Yep.
Pray tell, what are these electromagnetic waves you speak of, sir?
All of them.
Yeah, but Adam, sorry, keep going.
I said all of them.
Tell me about all. Let's just pick one.
That's exactly what he should have came back with, but he didn't. Finish it up, Brian, quickly.
What happens with it is just as he's at the point of being shown to be completely wrong and it all been wrong, there's an interjection from somebody or he creates a little bit of chaos or something. He stops that finality happening every time, and that allows him to continue on.
Dresses. Superchat.
Super false dichotomy.
On zero dresses.
No. Vlad on 0 degrees sent. Great show so far. It just deserves more super chats. Cheers to everyone in Discord and YouTube chat. Cheers.
Well, thank you, Vlad. Appreciate that. Here we go.
Oh, was that the phenomena that they were studying in this Michelson-Morley?
It doesn't have to be Michelson-Morley.
So why the fuck did you bring up Michelson-Morley then? Suddenly it's nothing to do with what Michelson and Morley were looking at. A moment ago, this was going to be the parlour trick to end all parlour tricks to justify your use of this utter horseshit you're peddling. But now, the phenomena we're going to describe has absolutely nothing to do with Michelson-Morley you were about to example a moment ago before I pointed out what a stupid parlour trick it is. So why? Why isn't this exactly the same as Michelson-Morley?
Yeah, I didn't say it had nothing to do with it. It's just that it doesn't have to be exclusive to Michelson-Morley. It's the point I brought up Michelson-Morley because, ironically, heliocentrism's devotion is the reason that electrical field theory threw out the background.
Here we go.
Non-sequitur rebuttal to the Michelson-Morley to then unsubstantiate, to be used as an unsubstantiation through his nonsense that he's being challenged on. It's just brilliant, really, isn't it?
You think?
Yeah?
I think it's
I
really
would
stupid.
buy encyclopedias off this guy. Definitely. If he came to my door, I'm going to be 78, maybe pushing 80. Yeah. But in that kind of state, I'm buying that shit off him.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, because my cognitive decline, I've noticed it. You have, we both have. We're not in our prime anymore. I'm thinking a little shithouse who speaks this quick, and is as duplicitous and underhanded as he is, he probably could sell me encyclopedias.
Well, speak for yourself.
I'm not being sold either whilst I'm 51. 20 odd years time, 30 years, he might this Muppet might mug me off.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be 90 and in a coma, and I'd get the straw out and the paper, and I'd chew on it a little bit, and I'd spitball them.
You know what? I'm going to start on the turmeric capsules just in case he turns up in 30 years.
So the reason for the parlour trick, the cause of the effect generated in the parlour trick, according to heliocentrists, is something other than what you claim. It's a stupid, shitty parlour trick that doesn't prove your counter space or point source energy or things that are non-manifest in physical reality. It doesn't prove any of those things just because it doesn't prove what the heliocentrists claim about it, Witsit. It's still a parlour trick, whether they use it or you use it.
Pause.
Nicely done.
I know this is nuance, QE, but listen to what Nathan's just summarised and listen to what the tosser came in with. Remember vacuum energy?
Yep.
You know, back in the day, like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
Yeah. The proof, the thing that had to be discussed that was going to demonstrate, it's gone. It's gone.
Yep.
It's not even a thing it's not even, there's been so much bullshit spat since then that Nathan's not even throwing it back in his face because there's 3 or 4 other things that are nonsense that are more recent.
It's hard to keep.
Done, mate.
It's hard to keep track of all the bullshit. Yes, it is difficult to. You'd have to write it down. Yep.
Don't compliment Oakley. He's down now. Let's keep him down.
Actually, I take it back. You know what, Brian? What a wanker for not adding that one as the 4th.
Yeah.
Vacuum energy. Why is he forgetting this shit?
Yeah.
You dollop.
Can I diss on Nathan too? Can I diss on Nathan, please?
Yes.
Give it a go.
All right. Counter space is real. I rest my case.
Yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah. That's where the cookies are.
I can shoot a laser through a vacuum chamber, and it
Why
gets
would
to
you
the
do
other
that?
Side.
Y'all heard this before.
Why? See, here, Witsit, we're interested in the physical and natural world. Is this something that you observed in the physical and natural?
Cookie jars sit on counter space.
Shut up.
World to ponder about why it happened, or is this another parlour trick you're making to make a point about something that you can't show in physical reality because it's non-manifest?
As far as I know, the sun could operate as a laser, but I can't make the atmosphere disappear. So that's
shit. Pause. That is a claim and a half, ladies and gentlemen. As far as Witsit goes, the sun could operate as a laser. Did you just hear? Can I have a J on that? Did that just actually fall out of his? What? Where? What? Is it a Death Star now?
It just sound like a glober in disguise to me sometimes. Like I just don't understand.
You actually want me to pull a J?
I want a J, and then when we get, and this is a really good poker tell. The best poker tell when you know someone's on their arse as a flat earther is when they go, you're or in exasperation as you go, you're behaving like a baller now. It's a really bad tell. Either you're not being listened to, or you know what I mean. That is that's actually an insult, a desperation flag. But yeah, give me a J because I want to hear about 5 parsecs to Dantooine.
Here we go.
Can't show in physical reality because it's non-manifest.
As far as I know, the sun could operate as a laser, but I can't make the atmosphere disappear.
He's right. Yeah.
Can we move on? I'm not pulling.
No. QE, give me one time ever in all of your time on YouTube, Discord, where you've made such an arsehole claim? As far as I know, the sun could be used as a laser. Ryan?
Adam. I'm getting a very much a Sorry, Keith.
No, God.
I'm just saying I'm getting a very much of a push feeling off of this whole YouTube live show. It's like as if the guy running it wants to be somewhere at a particular time or to be doing something by a particular time.
No.
Are you getting that feeling, Adam?
No.
Anyone else
You know
get
what?
that feeling?
Yeah, because when the sun goes down, you can't get your eye in. You can't tell the difference between 30 and 33 yards.
No, that's not true. I just had enough. I've been carpet bomb barraged by enough contradictions here. This is worse than an evotard. I can put up with an evotard longer than this. I've had enough.
So have I. Hence the point when I hear that, I actually have to think, what, to use Brian's vernacular, what the bejesus? Yeah. Somebody's just said, yeah. As a rebuttal to somebody, he said, yeah. I think the sun could be used as a laser. What does that?
That's not my vernacular.
The bejesus.
The bejesus part is.
I've never said that.
Really? Okay. Can we?
Not in that context.
Okay. Can we move on a little? I'm not trying to listen. We've been going for almost 3 hours. I'm not trying to get anywhere. All right. I just had enough, man. I just been hit by too many carpet bomb barrages of incoherency.
Okay. So, well, let's just take a pause, have a minute, and there is something. They're still there, all 14 of them. Okay, messages from the last time we started to air this, which are the desperate pleas of yeah. So, if you want to take a pause from it, maybe we could have an update and see where we are in terms of the mitigation that's been provided, which are the 14 messages we got from the last time we were on before.
Okay,
your internet.
if you want to do that, give me a little break. I don't know if I could still recover and listen to
I've
more.
not opened them.
Yeah,
this is a proper like Easter egg. We've not. They're there. I will open. How do I do that? How do I share screen on Discord? I might need Righteous.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Quantum Eraser said we're going to do 3 months of content, not 3 months at the same time.
Yes, good point. You can just read them out. Just read a couple of them out. So during our during our last interaction here about 10 days ago when Witsit was on here, and during his whole debacle, he sent me messages. I'm not going to release those messages. While we were discussing this, and he sent Adam 14 messages. Now, Adam has left these 14 messages alone. And what he's going to do, he's going to read a couple of them out. I don't need to show them. You don't need to show them. Just read them. A couple of them. All right?
Okay. Well, why am I doing that? And the only thing, what I'd hope to open, what do I want to see? Yeah? We've been lied to 2 years ago. We're showing this. We're still going through it. After, 2 or 3 minutes of that being showed, you joined in and started lying to us more. And then we've got these messages. So what would you hope? I got it wrong, bro. I got it wrong. Can we not start again? That's the word. You know what I mean? I have contradicted myself. And no, don't think the sun is a Death Star. You're right. So, okay, Witsit, there we go. Everything you're saying is a lie, and you claim to be a believer. Yikes. Oh, so we start out, opening gambit, first direct message. Now, I've got to interpret here, ladies and gentlemen, that when he says, and you claim to be a believer, it's the same thing he put to me the show, which is with regards to me not being a Christian and therefore invoking something like that. Very naughty. So that's a great start. Evening, Witsit, I should have said. I've been saying perceived rate of illumination. Right. Next comment. I've been saying perceived rate of illumination for 3 years. You claim I just made up a new phrase. You're a liar. No. Okay, so let's just get that credit. No. On that very cleverly constructed sentence, no. If you've been using the phrase rate of illumination or perceived rate of illumination for 3 years, I wouldn't say you haven't. What I would say is that the phrase, as you phrased it, perceived rate of illumination is fucking made up, you liar. Anyway, next. I literally would...
It's vague. Hang on, Adam. It's vague because he's implying that we only perceive our rate of illumination. So it's not real. It's like it's only percept. Go on.
His mitigation isn't to say that perceived rate of illumination is just a load of made up bollocks. It's to say, you say, I've been saying it for 3 years. You claim I just made up a new... I've been saying it for 3 years. You claim it's a made up phrase I've just made up now. No, I've been making this bollocks up for 3 years. That's his... Okay, there. Yeah.
Yes, that's the point. I
haven't just made it up. I made this bollocks up years ago.
But by the way, though, you can actually witness the rate of illumination. By the way.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is get yourself a femto camera. Well, yeah, but when you're looking at a light, like it's so fast, like your perception rate isn't quote unquote have enough frames. Right, so you need, like, if you get a femto camera, which is like in the billions or trillions of frames per second.
Yep.
Like you can literally watch light cascade across the wall. You can watch light pass through a bottle. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You invoking a speed here.
And travel.
It's immeasurable. It's immeasurable speed, though.
Well, why would you need a
quanta
femto
just
camera?
bounces around like crazy.
It's a nonsense.
There's supposedly a video which I've seen, of which I don't know if they claim it was a single photon or a few photons that they pass through a bottle.
Yeah.
And they shoot it with a femto camera.
Yeah, I got it.
And you could see it go from the one end to the other.
I got it. I got it around here somewhere. I saved it somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yeah,
I've seen
I got
it too.
Yep. It's just a load of bollocks. We'll continue. We're going to continue, Adam.
Okay,
So
so
it's-
have a little look. I'm going to... Can you see me sharing screen now?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Okay,
We're going to
don't do it, but it's there for those in Discord. So,
Yes.
you know, I hate to be disaccused of misrepresenting something.
No, you didn't mess with... No, we won't... No, you're a man of integrity. We know that.
I know you wouldn't, but it's there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, next message.
No, I wanted to stop the messages.
No, well, you need the next two because they're relevant.
The next two. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So we got 51, 52. So 10, 15 minutes later, I literally only described light as traveling in the vacuum while discussing it with Oakley because I didn't want the conversation to be diverted to that disagreement.
What?
Because he would use it to avoid the point. Yeah, I only described the light as if it were travelling to Oakley for intents and purposes to avoid the diversion to the disagreement. Because we all like to do that, don't we? We all like to avert the diversion to the disagreement. What the fuck you want?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I yielded the idea that light travels for intents and purposes in good faith. Just to discuss the specific point I was making, I've said light doesn't travel from the point from point A to point B, spelt B-E, for years. Long before I ever had that discussion with Oakley. That's why you can't unmute me, because you are the liars. And if you really know the creator is true, damn, I'd be careful. Genuine advice.
Yeah, that's...
Bloody hell.
Yep.
I'm going to burn in hell.
Yeah, well, he needs to be institutionalized. His appeals are that of a clumsy child. Those are moronic. I'm not even going to deal with them. They're too stupid to deal with. Let's move on.
Yeah, my messages are no better. My messages are no better, but the only thing that I can make out of this is I don't see any difference between his icon. Well, not his icon. Other than the icon, I can't see the difference between him and Professor Phil Bell. They're the same person in my mind. In that inbox, they talk the same, they act the same. So,
yep. Well, you'll have that. Here we go.
That's ridiculous.
All right. So why would you be doing it Is it comparable to our physical reality in any way? Or are you inventing a new medium, saying that we can't have that medium not exist because we can't have nothing, and then saying that the reason stuff travels through that medium you've created in a container, that medium is actually the entire medium of the world? It's not really space because you don't believe that, but it is ether because you've decided based on these two parlor tricks, Michelson-Morley and firing stuff through a vacuum. No, that doesn't apply to my entire physical reality at all, Witsy. It's just another parlor trick.
No, you're just ignoring it, though. What?
Oh, am I? Oh, my bad. What was the phenomena in this one? Yeah. What were we studying with this laser one through a vacuum? What was the natural phenomena that we were studying?
Okay, what does the sunlight...
That was my question not going answered. You've wanted to describe light or whatever travelling through a vacuum. So, I ask again, given that nature abhors a vacuum, what was the natural phenomena we were studying to ponder why it was happening in the first place? What were we studying? Or is this just another parlor trick that you've denied?
Just a straw man. I never claimed that it was a naturally occurring scientific
So who gives a
experiment.
shit?
I never said
so we're going to question why, when a man fires a laser through a vacuum, how that relates to our entire physical reality and therefore manifests ether from it? See, if it doesn't occur in my natural reality...
So Nathan's just described the setup, the environment that he's invoked for this thing. And now it's a straw man.
Yeah, it's a straw man. It's his argument. He does it all the time. Yes, he does it all the time. There's a number of times he already did it. He did it when he was on the show 10 days ago. Did the same thing. I was screaming at him, how can it be a straw man when that's your claim? It's your argument. It's moronic.
Didn't Whitson at some point employ that the reason 10 days ago there that the reason that he was describing light as having as traveling and needing ether as a medium for it to travel through was so it would be on a level that Nathan could understand or something like that.
Whatever it was really stupid and non sequitur. Something like that, but it was such a feeble, pathetic appeal. It's a nothing burger. Just like his ether.
I couldn't give a shit what some man claims after he's...
Just to address Brian's point, now that's what I read. And that's what's in those messages that I just read. Yeah, his rebuttal is to say the reason he contradicted himself is because Nathan's so stupid, it was to help him understand. So that's why he contradicted himself.
Oh, brother.
He's done something himself, after constructing something himself that is in no way comparable to anything that takes place in physical reality. You think I'm going to accept that manifestation from a parlor trick into...
Did somebody want me to stop?
Yeah, just very quickly, because I wanted to get in before you press play again. Now, as I said, I would attribute a lot of what Whitset's been at in the past couple of years to ignorance, right, of certain topics, certain things. But when it comes to that thing with Nathan, that is a straight-out lie.
Yes.
He argued for that position on that day 2 years ago here, and now his position is different. He can't say that now that he only argued that way, so it would be down at a level where Nathan would understand. No, that is not the situation. That part is a total lie.
Yep.
He just changed his position. That's what happened there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ether in my entire world? No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
I'm asking why you're doing it when it's stupid.
I discourage anyone from making definitive claims about...
Here we go again for the fourth or fifth time. Unbelievable.
Quote unquote ether, but
what's the difference between ether and quote unquote ether?
Saying like we have an electromagnetic field in the earth, for example.
Well, we what? Oh, really? Let's hear that again.
Definitive claims about quote unquote ether, but I'm saying like we have an electromagnetic field in the earth.
He said we have an electromagnetic field in the earth. Wrong. This is up on the screen.
I've been asking.
It's up on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Discord people, you can't see it. What's it said? We have an electromagnetic field in the earth. This is where I'm going to show you, folks. He doesn't have the first friggin' clue of what he speaks of. So this is wrong. It's laughably wrong. We have a magnetic field on the Earth. Not an electromagnetic field. Doesn't say Earth's magnetic field. Not electromagnetic. Let's take a look at this. This is from MIT. MIT News. Origin of Earth's magnetic field remain a mystery. Did it say Earth's electromagnetic field? Doesn't seem so. Let's see if it has it in the article. Let's scroll. There's a lot to this article. So let's go. Let's just thumb through it first. Let's see. You guys can't see it, just trust me. Electromagnetic. I don't see any electromagnetic. I see Earth's magnetic field again here. Magnetic field, no electromagnetic field. Earth's magnetic field again. I'll tell you what. Let's keep it simple. Let's go. Let's try to find electromagnetic. Oh, did I highlight something down here? There, let me get. One moment. Let's go. Electromagnetic. 0 of 0 in this article. You see, Whitsitt doesn't know the difference between magnetic and electromagnetic. The key difference, I'm reading some citations here. The key difference between the two is that magnetism refers to the phenomena associated with magnetic fields or magnetic forces, whereas, compare and contrast, the term electromagnetism is the type of magnetism produced by electric current and is associated with both magnetic fields and electric fields. The ability of certain objects to attract towards magnets is called magnetism, whereas, compare and contrast again, electromagnetism is the phenomena concerned with electromagnetic forces. Maybe this one will help you out. How stuff works. Before we go too much further, we should discuss how electromagnets differ from your run-of-the-mill permanent magnets, like the ones holding your popsicle art to the fridge. As you know, magnets have two poles, north and south, and attracts things made of steel, iron, or some combination thereof. Like poles repel and opposites attract. Ah, the intersection of romance and physics. Oh, how nice. Feeling all warm and fuzzy. For example, if you have two bar magnets with their ends marked north and south, the north end of one magnet will attract the south end of the other. On the other hand, the north end of one magnet will repel the north end of the other. Yeah, thanks for that. And similarly, south will repel south. We couldn't have done without that. And this is the really important part. An electromagnet is the same way, except it is temporary. The magnetic field only exists when the electric current is flowing. Whitsitt and all his merry band of idiots, like I've been telling you for years, don't know what magnetism is, electromagnetism, electrostatics, electrifa, and electripa. They have no idea what these terms mean at a fundamental level, and he just displayed it. By the way, if the Earth has an electromagnetic field, where's the never-ending perpetual electric current coming from? What's it? That's what you're going to need to have. I can't wait to hear that explanation. Of course, you don't know what electromagnetism is. You'd have better chances distilling Alexander the Great's tears from the Euphrates than showing Earth's electromagnetic field. Dunning-Kruger moron. And by the way, from National Mag Lab, Tesla is a unit of a magnetic field. Another unit of magnetic field is a Gauss. A refrigerator magnet is 100 Gauss. That's a strong refrigerator magnet. The typical strength of the Earth's magnetic field. Why didn't it say Earth's electromagnetic field? Why didn't it say that? You know why? Because it's a non sequitur. The typical strength of the Earth's magnetic field at its surface is around 0.5 Gauss. So, refrigerator magnet strength, 100 Gauss. Earth's magnetic field strength, 0.5 Gauss. The magnet is 200 times more powerful than the Earth's magnetic field. Turn out the lights, baby. That's where we're at here, folks.
Well, if it wasn't, if they were the same strength, then you wouldn't need them to hold the things on the fridge.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry, flat earthers who thought they were smart because they found out the Earth is flat, but you're really still just as dumb as you were 7, 8, 9 years ago. I'm here to hold your hand as you wake up from the religion again.
Yep.
Sorry to tell you.
And I'm here to witness you not doing that out of pride and continuing on down an obviously losing path.
Yep. Well, I just wanted to point out he has no idea the difference between electromagnetism and magnetism. That's at the level that we're at here, folks. Let's hear it again.
I'm asking why you're doing it when it's stupid.
I discourage anyone from making definitive claims about quote unquote ether, but I'm saying like we have an electromagnetic field in the Earth.
There you go. You have an electromagnetic field in the Earth, folks. There's prosecution rests, Judge.
Well, if I could just say that within the heliocentric paradigm, within the globe Earth paradigm, they're claiming, well, it is heliocentric because they're claiming it's the reason why the globe Earth rotates, is they're claiming an electromagnetic field is created, which means electricity, an electric field comes
No, they
forth,
didn't.
And that sorry.
No, they didn't. No, they did not. MIT, I just pulled up the article. MIT said nothing about electromagnetic.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the globe Earth. I'm trying to... I know what you just said. I listened to it. I understand it. I'm trying to point something out here. I'm trying to show something, a correlation.
You're trying to show a correlation? Correlation between what?
Correlation.
What?
Listen, I can't get to it because if you just allow me to get to it, why? If you just listen, it'll make sense.
I just listened and I stopped you in your tracks.
Why?
Because there is no electromagnetic field on the Earth. MIT just told you. It's magnetic
yes,
field.
I know that. I am fully aware of that. You didn't need for that. You didn't need to read that out to me.
All right,
but
carry it on.
The point I'm making, I'm trying to point out something here.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll chop it down. Well, Whitsitt is, when he says electromagnetic field, and anyone who says that, they're literally claiming the same thing as heliocentrism. Because if I have a dynamo on my bike, right, to get that light to light up, I have to have a magnetic field first that then allows me to create the electric field that creates the moving electromagnetic field that allows the light to light up, blah, blah, blah. But I must start with a magnetic field. Whereas within heliocentrism and our globe Earth, at the center of their globe, there is an electromagnetic field. Electricity creates the magnetic field, not a magnetic field creating an electric charge.
O-C-U-M.
Super electromagnetism.
Say it. Super.
Okay. Super chat.
Super electromagnetism.
Bree sent. Yeah, she's okay. Booker. Plus $5 to QE for showing documentation and source proof while Whitsitt fails to do so.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Thanks, Bree.
I don't like to get antsy, but Flatsy, can you stop rumpusing bugger, please?
You're right. I shouldn't.
All right, here we go. Oh, now let me stop. Does the Earth have an electromagnetic field, Brian, or does it have a magnetic field?
No, in reality, the Earth has a magnetic field.
Okay.
My point being is that within the heliocentric paradigm, they're claiming an electromagnetic field, which means the magnetism is being created by electricity, which is what when with it and them say an electromagnetic field, they're making the heliocentric claim without realizing it, which is the opposite from reality.
I think I see what you're saying. MIT just dashed them, right? But remember, electricity doesn't produce super electromagnetism.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
He's driving me kind of crazy over here on my terror arm. So AI sent meat hook.
Is that what he just meat hooks?
No, I put in the extra meat hook. So meat hooks, unmeat hooks.
Yeah. Brian, just to dot all the T's and cross the I's. Are you saying electricity produces magnetism?
A moving electric charge will produce a magnetic field.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I think there's a valid point here. QE, can you prove without the shadow of a doubt that there's not a big perpetual battery producing an electromagnetic field, which admittedly wouldn't be strong enough to hold a little miniature porcelain in the shape of the Eiffel Tower onto the side of a fridge? But can you prove it's not powered by a battery?
That is a logical fallacy. It's called proving non-existence, and then it's connected to its twisted sister all the time by shifting the burden to proof fallacy. Congratulations, Adam.
I did work in the magnetic strength within my.
Yeah, you did. I have to give you that. Yes, you did. I heard that part, and I had a wry smile when you did it. But this is another A for effort, F for non sequitur fallacy. You like that?
Sarcastic. Move on.
Brian got it. All right, here we go.
Example. So either if you took the air away, the electromagnetic field would
do we
disappear,
take the air away?
or it
Is
would
that
still
something
be-
that we have to concern ourselves with in natural reality, or is this something that you're just manifesting to make your point about something that doesn't?
Go ahead.
Because remember why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to question whether or not we should believe the encyclopedia salesman at our door and look at the things. And look at the next thing he's done. He wants to discuss the atmosphere without any air.
Yep.
Can we go there now? Why? Will that help you prove that you're not a little lying scrope? Well, no, it just helps underline the point that QE and the Adam Meakin are making.
Yep.
Doesn't ever occur. Do we ever have to concern ourselves with all of the air vacating for this example to make sense? Or are you still trying to peddle this stupid shit about stuff that's non-manifest? It sounds like you're still trying to peddle this stupid shit.
Point.
So he's making your point.
What a shithouse. that is technically proper shithouse.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice move. Let's see if Nathan can recover, but go ahead.
I was going to interrupt and go, oh, Nathan, I shouldn't interrupt. You just made the point. I interrupted to make the point. Yeah. And look at him with his impervio shield.
Yeah.
You're making my point. Yeah. It's just like, you complete the phrase in football when you just like, you're there at a corner, right? And we're all lined up, the defenders are all ready. And what you do is you squeeze the defender's bollocks really hard as the ball's kicked. Yeah, that's what he's doing here.
That's soccer.
Shit house. It's not within the game. Now, this isn't a baller we're having a game with, where you might expect a little squeeze of the testes. This is supposed to be on our side, flat earthers, as we fumble through the lies together.
Yes.
No, he's happy to constrict.
Let me. There's a PSA in here because this is an American audience. Also, he's not talking about American football, folks. He's talking about soccer. When you're all lined up, there's a corner kick, and you're all lined up, perpendicular to the goal. That's what he's talking about. I'm sure you already knew that. I wanted to insult your intelligence.
You're making money.
I read a political book on that.
Great. That's what we wanted.
Article that
That's what we wanted.
I just want to say that soccer is the sport of conquerors. I rest my case.
You said that soccer is the sport of conquerors. Is that what you said?
No, conquered nations. I rest my case.
Soccer is the sport of conquered nations. What do you think about that, Adam?
Well, we do play conkers. In fact, I think we originate the sport of conkers also.
Nicely done, AI. Nice little backhanded slight. I like it. I like the cutting edge.
There's a little image that came to my mind. What I use that, I don't know, on non sequitur analogy for you Americans. I want to share that. That shows you what's happening right now. Just as the ball's being kicked from the corner towards the corner flag, that's the image of what this guy's doing to you.
Yep.
It's just.
You're saying that you don't have to concern yourself with it. I'm like, okay, cool. You cannot answer the question. That's your
What's the question?
own prerogative.
So your question started with if we remove all of the air, didn't it, Witsit?
No, I said, what does...
So you didn't say if we didn't have any air. You didn't start with that?
My first question was, if you have an electromagnetic
Oh,
wave,
what a
does it-
wanker. You see? That's shithousery. So your question didn't start with that. When everybody who's been awake for the past heard him start with that. But he won't just prove his own indictment. He'd sooner do this do-si-do.
Yep.
This is why he's not genuine.
Yep.
This is why this is shithousery. This is why somebody is trying to sell you a book of empty pages in his encyclopedia. He's a liar.
Adam.
Yes, sir.
Remember, everyone, I was talking about America putting the word American before everything?
Here we go.
They took rugby, they made it more snazzy looking, they changed a few rules around, and they call it American football. That's not confusing at all.
Football, where actually you can't kick it unless you're like this special guy that only comes out like when everybody else has given up because they can't really win at this point. So at a point of quitting, then they bring out the guy that is going to use his foot on the ball that's not actually ball shaped.
Yeah, well, listen, this just speaks volume. Thanks for your do 7 offsuit there, Brian. See, if you would have just let this go, then no one would have thought anything about it and just took it as, like a little quirk from AI. But now, since you waited some time, you had some time to think about it. Now you come back with a defense. See, that's do 7 offsuit to say that you're conquered. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. Way to go, AI.
You're welcome.
It propagate through? What sustains the electromagnetism?
Now we have electromagnetism. I thought they were electromagnetic waves.
Well, you got worse than that. No. Support that. What sustains the electromagnetism, QE? Not what is electromagnetism.
Yeah, how about that?
Electricity. The answer to that is electricity.
Structurally, Brian, what sustains it? What's keeping it up there?
Structurally.
Yeah, but the answer to it is electricity, because you need a moving electric charge for there to be the electromagnetism.
Moving electric charge, that's the definition of magnetism.
Yeah, but that's because the moving electric charge, like when he said, what's sustaining the electromagnetism, the answer is electricity.
But yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Correct. You're correct. That answer would be correct. Yes. Yep, you got it. Good job.
Who cares?
And you have an answer.
My answer is who cares?
No, your answer should have been what Brian just said, electricity. That's correct. Way to go, Brian. You can think on your feet sometimes.
My answer is who cares? Are we in electromagnetic debate? Or
I got to defend Nathan. That we've got like the mild power of hindsight and the pause, but Nathan's spot on that. Who cares? Yeah, he doesn't have to identify as and be able to disseminate the bullshit that he's just been fed, but he recognizes it enough to go, who cares? Yeah.
That's true. It's a bit unfair because he's in the heat of battle. This has been going on for a long time. That's not lost on me. All right, and there's been a lot of contradiction and made up bullshit that he has to deal with, and he's continuing down this lane. So I'm trying to tread lightly. He's doing a good job.
Or are you going to directly relate what you conclude with this stupid question to the entirety of our world? Which is it? Is it electromagnetic debate, or are we going to relate what you conclude?
In the background, he said it's the strongest, most prominent force on Earth. What is? Electromagnetism or the Earth's magnetic field?
Which is stronger?
Yeah.
Electric or magnetic?
Yeah, because the Earth's magnetic field, I just showed a refrigerator magnet is stronger than the Earth's magnetic field.
Maybe it's like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and when they come together, electro and magnetism, that they summate more than the parts. Like Mega Goku power, and they become electromagnetism.
Like Wonder Twin powers activate?
Exactly.
Thanks.
To the entirety of Earth.
That is the strongest, most prominent force on the Earth. So I mean,
there you go. He said it more clearly. Then I'll pull another fiver. A super electromagnetic force.
Super Goku.
Jadu sent, people are addicted to ether. Attacking their dealer is a waste of time. There's more important issues to cover, in my opinion.
Attacking the dealer, that's a cool look at it. We're not attacking the dealer, we're exposing the dealer. Two different things. Say again?
Who was that? Who said that?
It was Jado. Thanks for the super chat, Jado.
Yeah, nice insight. I like that. That's clever. That's a very good point. And that's what we're subjected to, isn't it? White knights, what are they here for? No, he's a good guy, really. He's just helping me out.
That is the strongest, most prominent force on the Earth. So I mean, you can ignore it if you want to.
That's
I guess,
nice.
But...
And?
Well, dude, the point is simple, right? So it's like either you can ignore the question.
We're ignoring the question again. He's just circle jerk back. This is like a dog circling back to his own vomit.
Or you can address it.
I have an important question to ask.
Go ahead.
Are we listening to it on repeat, or is this conversation actually continuing in time? Because it seems like this is just like a record on repeat.
Yeah. No, this is continuing in time. I'm not rewinding. No.
It is that bad, AI.
Yep.
I won't ignore it. I'm not
What's
saying
the question?
You have to address
What's the
it.
question?
Now Nathan gets to it. What's the question? Hold on a second, folks. My wife is calling me for dinner. 5:30, 15. Yeah, these guys won't be happy with me, but I 15. We got 15 minutes, folks. Remember that I'm not stopped. This is not going away on QE Live. We're gonna continue, so all is not lost. Here we go.
Yeah, it can be scientifically
What's the
proven
question?
It's lit. What?
What's the question?
You keep on asking him. We keep ignoring the question. Nathan's finally got it. And what's the damn question again?
The question is, what sustains the electromagnetism?
Oh, now the question is, what sustains the electromagnetism? I thought it was, what's the vacuum energy in?
I think I alluded to that earlier. Goku power. Because without Goku power, then the separate things of electrics and magnetism don't combine to give you electromagnetism. Yeah?
Yes.
Goku power.
He keeps on.
I think this is a good place to stop, because this is him summed up. Yeah, he's now trying to straw man bullshit Nathan. What sustains the thing that I've just made up?
Yep,
is a combination of different things that have got nothing to do with why nothing is actually something, and how any of nothing to do with nothing, and whether electrics, magnetics, electromagnetics, and how they combine in the natural world have anything to do with this thing called ether that appears from your mitigation to have nothing to do with any of these things because you've not linked them yourself.
This is crazy.
I'm nearly there, Eli.
This is crazy. Oh, go ahead.
I'm nearly there. Nearly there. With that in mind, maybe we should hand it over to the panel and let us all have just a chew if it's 15 minutes till din's time.
Yeah, let's have so we can have. We'll stop it here. Like I said, we're going to continue on QE Live, and the next Ballbusters is just going to continue on. So there's no rush. So go ahead. Anyone, Adam, if you want to let people.
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
No,
it's Eli.
I have
first.
a suggestion.
Eli, then Brian's suggestion.
Oh, sorry.
I've got to be fair. In my new adjudicated powers, I've got to be fair, Brian.
All right, my mic is trash. It's hard to mute and unmute. Like, it's actually really entertaining, and I'm actually impressed because what you guys are doing, what we're all doing with Witsit, is literally making sense of his nonsense. Like, we're recalling it and putting it in its proper place. When you get what I'm saying? Like, it's nonsense, but the fact that we can put it in sequential order is actually fascinating.
Isn't it? Going back over it? Yep.
No, it's worse than when I was in the moment.
Yeah, it would be.
Yo.
Yes. It's magnitudes worse than when you were in the moment. Once you go back and listen to it, it's really bad. Yeah. Brian?
It doesn't age well.
No, it doesn't.
My suggestion was that we take a 2-minute reprieve, and during that 2 minutes, that you could go and put your dinner in a blender, and then pour it into a flask, and then come back in and be supping away on it while we're continuing the show.
Sir, I have chicken. Side super chicken mother clucker.
Pablo sent, their malice may be concealed by deception, but their wickedness will be exposed in the assembly.
Oh, damn. Pablo going
deep.
nuclear on us.
A little bit harsh.
Their malice may be concealed by deception, but their wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. Boy, that sounds like scripture, doesn't it?
If it isn't, it should be.
Yeah.
I gotta like write this down
It
and
is,
sit on
man.
it. I gotta sit on that one.
Is that in there? Where'd you get Pablo? You don't have
Yeah,
to.
but not a class. That's not one of the mainstream versions that a lot of people.
I was just gonna type it in, but yeah, wow. Okay. Any other suggestions? Any other?
The King James.
Is it King James?
Oh, never mind. No, the King James uses the word congregation and a different word for the other sentence. Rather than assembly, it's congregation.
But it's in. Where is it? You know where it is?
Proverbs 26.
No, I don't know the citation.
Let me go. I'm gonna
the mistress.
go ahead, Adam.
I asked the mistress. This quote is from the Bible. I just asked her that. I just took the super chat. This quote is from the Bible, specifically Proverbs 26:26.
26:26.
About the deceptive nature of those who harbor malice and wickedness. Despite their efforts to conceal their true intentions, the evil deeds will eventually be exposed. This verse is often used to remind people that no one can escape the consequences of their actions, and that the truth will always prevail. Profound, Pablo.
King James.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That is profound, Pablo. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I just went to the scripture.
Yep. Proverbs 26:26. King James. Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Yep. I knew it was scripture. Yep. Good on you, Pablo.
Kudos. Oh, right there. Look at time.
It's super congregation.
Sasha said, when I become famous, FE, you want to be evaluated?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do. All right. Any thoughts? Anyone that hasn't had a chance to speak, if you want to, summarize or give any comments, I still got 5 minutes, so make it quick.
All right. I don't hear anyone going, so I'll give them a chance.
Hold on, AI.
Yeah.
Hold on. I just got a message from my wife that chicken hasn't reached temperature. It's going to take another 20 minutes.
Oh, praise the Lord! Praise the Lord!
Right, so there's still a prize. There's still a prize on the table for whoever can tell me what counter space is.
It's where you put your empty cookie jars.
That is true, but I do mean in the context of this conversation.
Oh, well, no, because technically, in the context of this conversation, that still holds true. But I get your point.
You are correct, but I mean in the context of which this conversation is conversing about.
You mean within the context of the context? Then, in which case, I don't know really. Unless
He wants the ontology, Adam.
Yeah, I know.
For God's sake, don't about the last 20 minutes. Jesus.
Wouldn't counter space be the antithesis? Is that the right word to space, which is length, width, and breadth? Counter space.
Intuitively, that does sound correct. But what it actually is so an object. So I'll pick up an object. I have a small piece of wood. This object has form. It has bounds, right? So it extends in space and has a limit. So the entire boundary of this object is space, and everything that is not the object is counter space.
I see what you're saying. That it's counter space is not limited.
Correct. So an object that has form exists within an area. The area that the object takes up is space. The area around the object, that is the boundaries that meet the object, is counter space. All the rest of the area.
Makes sense.
I think if Whitsitt were to define counter space, I don't think he'd say that, because everything is made of ether, and ether is in counter space, and so it can't be outside of that, right?
Well, this is a hijacking of this term. So the way I just described it is the origination of the term from the philosophers that were talking about it. The idea that counter space is occupied by some kind of thing in itself is something that occurred later.
So, by that logic, ether is everywhere where everything else isn't.
Concept.
No, not necessarily, because, like I said, it's a bastardization of the term. But yes, you would be correct. But to be true to the term, to be true to the idea of ether would have to be everywhere, even within space and counter space. So ether can't be counter space. It would make no sense.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Just to be fair, though, hold up, Adam. Just to be fair, Whitsitt did not mention anything about counter space. It was Nathan who said counter space. So just to be fair.
Why?
Right.
Because of the Jedi. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of that. So this is the point. If you put this into history, what's going off here is what's happened is Whitsitt's come into this because lots of people have been bobbing in on flat Earth debate, and we've all been talking about it, and hence this affirmation of the best we can understand at this point. But this is a rebuttal of the nonsense that's being presented to us, and Nathan's making this point to their high priest. So those lines are kind of pertinent because even though he's not making them back then, that's the bullshit that was coming out of his mouth back then when we we use that phraseology of nonsense.
Yeah, and where it really started spilling over is from when those guys were dealing with the Ken Wheeler stuff like years back.
To be honest, though, I never heard Whitsitt say counter space. Now, I've heard some of the White Knight followers say it. Adam.
Yeah.
I have never heard him say that.
It's Ken Wheeler that talks like this in terms of the way in which magnetism, as he describes it, has this countering.
No, he has.
Yeah.
So Eli said he has.
He's used the term. I'm just saying he has said it.
Okay.
Because what's that other guy's name? Anyway, he's arguing with I forget this guy's name. Anyway, someone was arguing with him, and all they kept asking him was, I mean, he's definitely used.
Well, what I would say is in the thing with Nathan there, when Nathan brought up counter space, he never denied counter space. Now, that doesn't mean he claimed it in that conversation, but he didn't deny it. And he tried to defend against whatever Nathan said. And part of his defense wasn't that I'm not claiming counter space, or I don't claim counter space. Because I'm pretty sure I've heard Whitsitt use that term, but it might have been a couple of years ago. So I'll be with Eli there. I do remember that term being uttered by him.
QA. Look at that. No, he's checking on his dinner. So, apologies.
It's just, you know.
Yeah, I had to take a little break.
Really,
Hold on a second. Hold on. Yes. What do you need, Adam?
Good point of rounding out. I need 3 minutes at the end of the show, if possible, please.
3 minutes. I'll give
Adam's selling a car.
Yeah. I'll give you the warning. Go ahead, Eli.
I think you'll find, it's a mobile home, Ryan.
Suede seats.
Go ahead. Elijah wanted to say something. Sorry about that, Elijah. Go ahead.
I just what was I gonna say? It's just crazy to me that basically Whitsitt and everybody else that doesn't really challenge or question what he says is, I mean, you're just another baller who calls themselves a flat earther. Because I don't get it. It's like we can do these streams, or individually we can talk to people on Discord, wherever, and we'll say the same thing or ask the same questions. And the only thing that the Whitsitt sympathizers, supporters, cult members will do is they'll just hand wave you asking them the question, or you saying that you asked Whitsitt the question, just like when you replayed his contradictions, and it was like 3 people refused to go, yeah, that's a little questionable. Whitsitt, actually, I'm going to go on mute because I want to see how you handle that interaction. It did seem contradictory, but it's like they never do that, and that's just weird. It's like, I don't know, it's very weird how other people around me can't see that he's a liar.
It's nearly like from a conspiratorial point of view. You nearly start thinking, are they all lying as well? You know what I mean? Are they pretending that they don't? You know what I mean? It's that bad. You kind of go, how can you not spot that he's double speaking? You know what I mean? How can you not spot that he's wrong?
I can liken it to when somebody can't spot that their mic is trash.
Well, it's very like, what it is actually exactly like is the ballers. Because what they'll do is they'll pass the problem up the way. So they'll pass the problem that they can't deal with, that you're putting forth to them, up the way. So eventually they'll be passing it back to Whitsitt. Where as opposed to just them dealing with you in a comment on YouTube, some comment thread on YouTube, you're supposed to go and have this big conversation with Witsit about it, for Witsit to explain to you what he's talking about, because the person that follows him religiously can't tell you. Why can't you tell me if it's so right and correct? Then why can't you just tell me what it is that Witsit is saying? You know what I mean? But they can't.
There was a time that I had to lean on you guys for reasoning. I'm not talking about just terms or just remembering stuff. I mean, like the way that I would reason. You know, I had to work on that, right? And it's like what you're saying there with them not being able to just go ahead and say in their own words what they really mean. People have done that to me over the years. I can't even count how many times. When they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, since you're citing this paper, why don't you go ahead and explain what it says? Okay. Shit, don't get caught out there not knowing your own material.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You're right. And then they claim that you're arguing from incredulity, by the way. That's exactly right. That's spot on.
Well, I was told recently that I need to listen closer to what Witsit is saying. And I said I have. I've listened to him for years. And I corrected the person on what they were saying. I should be listening to him, and the reason I should be listening to him. You know, it's like, it's the same thing as with the ballers. You have to go and talk to Brian Cox about that kind of stuff.
I can admit to y'all right now, literally right now, I was just deceptive. Let me explain why. I thought that what I was going to say was going to contradict something I said earlier in the show. So I said, let me reword it. And I said, why am I doing that? Nah, F it, right? So really, just like you're saying, oh, they'll throw it up the way, they'll throw the conversation up the way. I didn't want to say, well, that's like Jim Panda or any of these other people who tell me to repeat what QE said or what Nathan has said or what Adam, what any of you guys have ever said where I'm like, I'm taking that argument. They've always said, well, you know, don't talk about QE, don't talk about this person, just tell me what the information is. And I've done that. That's the thing. It's like, I don't understand. Like, you can't come into a conversation damn near ready to curse somebody for what you believe in. And then when you get pressed on it, say, well, you'll speak to the cult leader. That's wild. Now I'm saying I'm being deceptive because I thought and confused me saying that no one has ever actually, what was the point I made earlier? No one ever actually, now I lost myself.
No one can actually back up the things that they cite. They don't understand them. They're asking you to go back and talk to Witsit or someone else who does understand them. That's what you were saying.
It was something I said earlier, but it sounded similar when I thought about it. And anyway, never mind.
Hey, Eli.
The overall point is it's disgusting. That's it.
Elijah, when you come back, make sure you fix that mic before you come back. Okay?
I got you.
All right. Anyone else? Yeah, we're going to get to Adam's 3 minutes here. Most Ricky Tick if you don't.
Neil. Surely. No? Okay. Are we ready to round out then? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Anybody? Yeah? Last call. 3, 2, 1. No? Sold to the ginger gentleman at the back. Lovely. Okay. Fate sometimes is interesting, isn't it? And I did have a round out until that super chat from Pablo. And with that in mind, I don't want to just read 26 again, but I want to read all of Proverbs 26. 26:11 makes me laugh. But anyway, so if you'll humour me, that's what.
Go ahead.
3 minutes. It's 28 verses. As guys are, the purpose of what we're doing, and a cautionary tale. So yeah. Proverbs 26. As snow in summer and as rain in harvest, so honour is not seemly for a fool. As the bird by wandering, as the swallow by flying, so the curse causeless shall not come. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the ass, and a rod for the fool's back. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou be like unto him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. He that sendeth a message by the hand of a fool cutteth off the feet and drinketh damage. The legs of the lame are not equal, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. As he that bindeth a stone in a sling, so is he that giveth honour to a fool. As a thorn goeth up to the hand of a drunkard, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. The great God that formed all things both rewardeth the fool and rewardeth transgressors. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. Seest thou a man wise in his own conceit, there is more hope of a fool than of him. The slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way, a lion is in the streets. As the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful upon his bed. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom, it grieveth him to bring it against his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason. He that passeth by and meddleth with strife belonging not to him is like one that taketh a dog by the ears. As a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbour, and saith, am not I in sport? Where no wood is, there the fire goeth out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife cease. As coals are to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Burning lips and wicked heart are the potsherd covered with silver dross. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Whoso digesteth a pit shall fall. Whose hatred is covered. I'll read that from 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he shall rolleth a stone. It will return upon him. A lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. Thank you, Kuwait. Good night, everyone. And thank you, Pablo.